his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra.
Cut the music, cut the music. We interrupt this introduction to announce the Liberty Underground show has finally been liberated from the tyrant, Alex Snicker. This is Adrian Wiley.
Mutiny.
Retaking my rightful place at the helm of the Liberty Underground show. Good morning, everyone. How's it going?
Good morning.
I'm here with Greg Bowen, the Minister of the Sinister.
The Prime Minister
The
of the
Prime
Sinister.
Minister of the Sinister.
The elected official of all that is wicked.
And Veronica is in studio with us as well. Good morning, Veronica.
I am. This is very early for me.
But
just for you, I made the sacrifice.
Well, I saw you sucking down the Red Bull, and it's good because as our forces attacked the studio to liberate the Liberty Underground show, Alex Snicker did manage to escape. We believe he's hiding in a hole somewhere, but we're going to smoke him out and find him.
Yes.
We will find what spider hole you're in.
Welcome to Liberty Underground, everyone, and thanks for joining us today on the 1787 Radio Network. Again, Adrian Wiley filling in this week for Alex Snicker and Danielle Alexandra. It's good to be here. It's good to be back on the air on the show that I founded. I really hope Alex is finding a way to listen today.
Yeah.
But, you know, as most of you probably know, I actually am the Libertarian candidate for governor of Florida. And there are some rules floating out there somewhere on the books about equal time, meaning that since we are a radio broadcast here, and since I am getting 3 hours of radio airtime, in order to comply with federal regulations, federal guidelines, we have to reach out to my fellow candidates for office and ensure that they have the opportunity to get equal time to come on the air to discuss their opinions. So we happen to have some phone numbers for Rick Scott and Charlie Crist, and we're going to be giving them a call right now and inviting them to come on the air. So you've got, Greg, you've got the numbers.
Yes, sir. And do you want me to call Governor Scott's office or his campaign office first?
Let's start with his office first.
His official office?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what his schedule looks like today, so we'll see if we can't hunt him down.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with his office then.
Live radio here, folks. We'll see how this works out.
Thank you for contacting Governor Rick Scott's office. Your call is important to us.
I'll
Please
bet.
press 1 to
important?
speak
I'm
with
not
an
gonna
available
answer.
representative.
All right.
Please press 2 to leave a voicemail for the governor. All of our representatives are currently busy. Please continue to hold for the next available staff member.
Do we want to hold?
We'll hold for a second and see what they say, see if they pick up quickly here. But, yeah, you know, Rick Scott, actually, I was at an event yesterday.
Still have a lot of work to do.
Oh,
and her job
that's
isn't
Rick's
done.
I'll
Bring him
go
down,
ahead and
bring him
mute
down
him.
a little bit. I thought Rick answered. I'm going to say, Rick, my boy, good to hear from you. But I was at an event yesterday in Collier County, a political event. It was the Politics in the Park, and all political candidates were invited. Rick Scott and Charlie Crist sent representatives, but they didn't attend in person. And you know, it's another event where they don't seem to want to show up at these type of things. About 300 people there. There was a straw poll, which everyone voted in. I didn't win that one. I only got about 10% of the vote in that one. It's a very heavy Republican. Rick Scott won in a landslide. Most candidates there were Republicans. But do you have anything on the hold there? Are they?
We're still on hold.
There, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and give the campaign office a try.
Alrighty. I'll go ahead and cut that one. And
I like the little sound effects.
I know. I love the
They're
Skype
happy.
sounds.
Everybody out there who uses Skype is trying to answer their computer right now.
Yeah.
All right.
All
So
right. Now we're going for the campaign office.
the campaign office. Okay.
Thank you for contacting Governor Rick Scott's office. Your call is important to
Oh, I
us.
think we got the
think
same
it's the
one.
same.
Press 1 to speak with an available representative.
Now, that's interesting. I wonder if his campaign office actually forwards.
All of our representatives are currently busy. Please continue to hold for the next available staff member.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and make this announcement publicly then.
I propose 24.
Governor Rick Scott, Adrian Wiley here, your good buddy. We're just offering you the chance to be on the air with us. Maybe we'll give them a try again in the second hour after the first break. But you're more than welcome to call into the show. The number is 800-525-4032. That's 800-525-4032. And that applies to everyone else out there. I'd love to hear from you today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the issues of the day. But let's give Charlie Crist a call. Now, Charlie Crist will start with his office at Morgan & Morgan. Now, I've got a couple of Charlie's cell phone numbers on there, so we might have to be careful with those. But we'll see how that goes. Let's call up Morgan & Morgan.
Alrighty.
And for those of you that don't know, Charlie Crist is an attorney. He works for Morgan & Morgan in the Tampa office. So, not a big surprise who his one of his big donors is.
Thank you for calling Morgan & Morgan. My name is Hanan. How can I direct your call?
Good morning. This is Adrian Wiley. You're live on the air. We'd like to speak to Charlie Crist, please.
Charlie Crist. Okay, one moment, please.
Thank you.
Pride in the fact that our firm represents individuals, not powerful insurance
And
companies.
John Morgan, we're not going to charge
hospitals,
you
or
for this
other
on-air
corporations.
advertisement. We'll give
We
you a
have
freebie
limited
on
our
that
law
one.
practice to the representation of people like you.
We'll just
We
talk over
appreciate
it.
your-
Yeah, well, maybe we should send him a bill.
We
I
can.
think that would be fair at this point. Yeah.
Hello, this is John Morgan.
Hey, John.
For about a quarter century, I've been here to fight for you. It's been a lot like David versus Goliath.
Do you remember
I fought
back in the
drug
day before it was Morgan & Morgan?
HMOs,
Do you remember what the
insurance
law firm
companies,
was called?
No.
bully corporations,
Morgan, Colling, and
the
Gilbert.
makers
Oh,
of the
yes,
sex
that's
remember.
right. Yes.
I've met you and your family.
And they ran just about as many annoying,
But most of all,
pseudo
I want to thank you
heartfelt
for your
ads.
trust.
And
Justice
just,
matters.
Which is exactly why I remember.
we're for the people.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm buying that one. Come on, Charlie, pick up.
If you've been injured on the job or an automobile accident, you need a law firm with a reputation for trying cases.
I highly doubt he's
Morgan,
in that
we have
office.
our
I don't know
own
why it
courtroom
hasn't
here
gone to
in our
voicemail
office.
already.
You would think it
This
would,
is where
right?
We conduct
Yeah.
our final
It's like
preparation
I wonder if she
before
just
your
threw us
case
in
goes to
the
trial.
queue. You
You only have
instead
one
of-
day in
Uh-oh,
court
on the air?
to
Uh-oh.
make it count. This is John Morgan, and I promise you that the commitment to your case is something we take very seriously.
All right, I got a hunch no one's picking up. Let's kill that. Let's try one of the other numbers on there, which I know at least one of those numbers is his cell phone. So
There is one that's tagged as cell. You want me to try that one
let's
first?
try that one first, yeah.
These other two aren't labeled, so I
Yeah.
don't want to
You know, it's funny.
calling the wrong one.
Charlie gave me his cell phone number one time a few years back, but Rick Scott never would do that for some reason. He's probably happy about that today.
All right, this is Charlie Crist's cell phone number,
All right, let's
according
give it
to
a try.
this.
If this is his cell, he's like every other person on the planet going, I don't know this number. I ain't answering this.
Exactly.
Hi, this is Charlie Crist. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now. If you could please leave your name and number,
Yeah.
I'll return your call
leave a
as soon as I can. Thanks so much for your support.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Charlie, it's Adrian Wiley, Libertarian candidate for governor. Listen, I'm live on the air here in the Tampa Bay area and co-hosting a radio show, Liberty Underground. In the interest of equal time, I wanted to give you the opportunity to come on the air with me. The call-in number is 800-525-4032. Again, 800-525-4032. And we'll be on the air until noon today. So give me a call if you want some equal time. Love to chat with you. Take care, Charlie.
If you are satisfied with your message, press 1
I'd say
to
we're
listen to your message. To send your message with normal delivery, press 1.
No, this should be
To send your
urgent.
message with
Exactly.
urgent
Yeah.
delivery, press 2. Thank you. Your message has been sent. Goodbye.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to send it urgent. All right.
Now, see, I didn't even know you could do that. I always just hang up when I'm done leaving a message.
Yeah.
Urgent delivery, that's like putting
Yep.
the little 911 tag on the end of a text.
Exactly.
Yeah. Remember the pager days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 911,
Yes.
And then everybody's running to find a payphone.
And I like how now they've changed it to when you're done, please press 1. It used to be please press the pound key, but
Right.
apparently that's now hashtag.
Yeah.
So they can't be like, hey, so press the hashtag.
I actually had that conversation with someone the other day. I was telling them something, and you hit the pound key, and they had no idea what the pound
No
key was.
idea what a pound key was.
And finally, they're like, "Yeah, I didn't think of I didn't think a hashtag. I actually said, the tic-tac-toe
Tic-tac-toe
thing."
board.
And they say, "You mean a hashtag?" Yeah, a hashtag. It's amazing how things our language evolves
It's
over
fluid.
time.
Yeah. The other interesting thing, like kids today, we had no concept when we were younger about calling someone and then asking them where they were. Because you knew where they were when you called them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There was no cell phone. If you called someone and they answered, you knew where they were.
They were.
Well, actually, that's not true because a lot of people had party lines. I lived in a house in Largo when I was very young that we had a party line. So when the phone rang, it actually rang to our house and our neighbor's house kitty corner.
Oh.
And that's how I learned to actually covertly listen to the teenage girls' phone calls who lived kitty corner to us.
Nice.
I was very good at picking up the receiver without. I should have been in the NSA.
I was about to say, you were traded for NSA spying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Starting at a young age.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I see you wiping your forehead there. It is unreasonably hot in this studio.
Yes.
oh, this is good.
Are you kidding me?
Well, compared to Wednesday
Compared
night.
to Wednesday nights, yeah.
Oh wow. This is like fourth circle of hell in here.
No.
Plus, you don't release near as much hot air as Alex. So
Well, it's early yet.
there
I'm gonna
is some
give it a shot.
temperature control.
So a lot of things going on the national front right
Yes.
now. And we had a couple of interesting Supreme Court rulings yesterday.
Absolutely.
And it's rare that I can give kudos to the Supreme Court, but I don't even think they deserve kudos in this case. They're just kind of halfway doing their job. But the Supreme Court ruled, and it's kind of a weird thing. It was a unanimous decision on the primary aspect, but it was a 5-4 decision because there was some 4 justices dissented to specifics of it. But in general, they ruled that President Obama overstepped his constitutional authority by making recess appointments. And, folks, there's a lot of people who are cheering this as a victory for the Constitution, cheering this as, hey, we finally got back at Obama. But when you look at the usurpations of power by both Obama, by Bush, by Clinton, by Bush Daddy, going back for a very long time, you realize that this is probably one of the more minor ones, regarding appointments to the National Labor Relations Board while Congress was not in session. Well, technically they were in session, and that's really the point of it. Now, the ability for the president to appoint positions when Congress was not in session was created for emergency circumstances.
Right.
You have to remember that this was written at a time where it probably took a congressman a month to get to Washington or Philadelphia for a little while,
Right.
in order to make a vote on this sort of thing. So there was a need for this if there was a vacancy. In this day and age, there's absolutely no need for the president to be making those kind of appointments without Congress's approval. So it was good to see that they did that. But by the same token, it's kind of like we're in a boat, and the boat is knee deep in water. And, the Supreme Court just took a Dixie cup and bailed out one cup.
Yeah.
That's really, the kind of what we've done here. Yay!
The justices are marching out with a Dixie cup going, we're here to save us all.
Yeah, it's going to take 2 seconds less for the boat to sink, effectively. So really, don't get too excited about this. Now, the other side of the coin, the other big ruling that the SCOTUS ruled on was in favor of free speech regarding protests, the buffer zones. I believe it's 35-foot buffer zone for abortion clinics that protesters could not be in that area. And, I think that's a good ruling as well. I think that we have to protect the right of free speech. And as long as it's not on private property where someone can be trespassed off that property legally and rightfully so under inalienable property rights, the people should have the ability to protest without having any type of free speech zone, without having any type of buffer zone, without having any type of restriction whatsoever. And that is Congress shall make no law. That's the way it goes. People have the freedom to express themselves any way they choose. So we had a couple of good rulings there, but when we look at it on the whole, we have to understand how minuscule it is, how much power has drifted to the federal government, how much power has drifted to the executive branch. It is so absolutely out of control. When you look at the Constitution, you look at the articles of the Constitution, specifying the powers of each branch of government, it's a few paragraphs each.
Right.
But today we have volumes upon volumes, enough text to fill this room easily, probably many times over, of federal law that is outside of the constitutional boundaries. And, the idea that Congress is going to fix it, the idea that the federal government is going to fix it, it's just absolutely ridiculous. You can't count on these people to police themselves. I mean, for example, right now, Boehner and Company are actually looking to sue the president.
Yes.
They want to sue the president. Are you kidding me? And I hear people getting excited. Yeah, Congress should show them. They're Congress. If the president has exceeded his constitutional power, impeach him.
Exactly. Don't sue him. Where are the impeachment proceedings?
I think they should have to start in small claims court.
In front of Judge Wapner.
Yeah. Let's do it that way.
The People's Court.
It is absolutely so ridiculous, and it infuriates me because they know exactly what they're doing. These guys know that this is a dog and pony show, that this is absolutely meaningless. It is all for TV viewing and public consumption, and it means absolutely nothing. And a lot of Republicans will say that, well, the Republicans in Congress need to get a spine. They need to stand up. This is a good thing. They're standing up. No, they're not. The Republicans in Congress are in on it. They are part of the problem. This is a little, reality TV program that you're watching in Washington D.C. We should call it Washington TV. Yeah, it's up in Washington TV right now that we're watching. What is it, Big Brother or I don't watch reality shows, so I just know some of them.
I wish it was more like Survivor.
Yeah. That would be classic.
We are voting you off the island.
Maybe somewhere closer to Survivor Man.
That would be even better.
Maybe if Congress had to drink their own urine once in a while, they'd have a better attitude. And
What's that one show, Naked and Afraid?
Yes.
I love that show.
We should put all of Congress on Naked and Afraid.
Yes.
But then again,
I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to see
okay.
Pelosi
No.
naked.
I don't think there's any amount of blurring.
I'd much rather see Pelosi naked than John McCain.
Well, yeah.
That would be a horrifying experience.
Yeah.
So there is not enough blurry on television to make that right. You
They
know?
can't digitize the whole thing.
No. There's just nothing
Mitch
good
McConnell.
gonna happen there. But you know,
Leslie Graham.
that's really what's going on right now. And you know, you folks that think that you know, the Republicans are doing one thing and the Democrats are doing another, and the Democrats are for this and the Republicans are for this, and conversely, one's against this, the other's against this. It's all a lie. It's all a show. It's all a game to these people. Excuse me. Because if Boehner and the Republicans in Congress really wanted to do something about it, they wouldn't be drafting a lawsuit. You know, this isn't a little contract dispute. This isn't, my neighbor, you know, parked his car on my lawn and tore up my petunia bushes. You know, it's not that. You have a remedy. Use it, you know. That's the thing. We've had such a usurpation of power for so long that nobody knows how to deal with it on the federal level. The people don't. The Congress and the president and the Supreme Court, you know, right now, as bad as the Supreme Court is, they're probably our best option. But what's the enforcement mechanism now? Now that it's been ruled unconstitutional, what happens now? You know, it's like Andrew Jackson said. Okay, the Supreme Court has ruled that way. Let them enforce it.
Exactly.
I have the army. You know, and that's the kind of thing we're getting to. But really, I think the only thing substantive that could happen here would be impeachment proceedings against the president. And there are 1,000 different reasons why we could impeach this president. Just like there were 1,000 different reasons that we could have impeached Bush. Could have been, well, Clinton was impeached.
Yeah, well, but they didn't complete it by removing him.
Right. Yeah, they didn't remove him from an office.
Which is the problem. If they go through the impeachment proceedings in the House, that's fine. But if they don't finish it in the Senate and remove him, then it doesn't matter.
Right. And apparently that's a badge of honor for presidents these days. I mean, Bill Clinton wasn't affected by it at all.
But I just think that I'm happy to not have to pay him $400,000 a year for the rest of his life.
Well, that's true too.
I'd be happier for you to be gone, but you know, I'll still take not paying that for the rest of your life.
I bet they don't even lose their pension if they get impeached.
Yeah.
Do they?
They're
supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to get that money no more.
That's why the Clintons are different from other people who were well off.
Well, that's why they're so broke. Yeah. Yeah, you know,
I couldn't even keep a straight face with seeing that.
The funny part is in the circles they travel, they probably believe that.
They're probably not wrong, really, because they're hanging out with billionaires.
Yeah. You hang out with billionaires and members of Congress. You're going to find out that if you're only if your bank account only has 9 figures. You're probably not doing that well.
Yeah,
you know,
they're like Rodney Dangerfield. If you want to look thin, hang out with fat people.
But it's absolutely insane how they just keep playing these dog and pony shows. But the good news is I talk to a lot of people. I being on the campaign trail, I get the opportunity to talk to thousands and thousands of people, and more and more people. And I would say it's almost approaching the majority of people I talk to. And, the people I talk to are not always, but a lot of times attending a political event, so they're probably a little more tuned in. But they don't buy any of it anymore. And questioning it is the first step in the process. And they're starting to really understand it. And some people I talk to are just dialed into every detail. It's really phenomenal. And it's a good thing to see because, the masses aren't believing the mass media reports. And that is an important step towards fixing the problem. People are starting to understand the problem and they're starting to look for remedies to the problem. I don't believe that we can fix it on the federal level. I look at it as the federal government is completely lost. There's no way that Congress is ever going to police itself. There's no way that the president is at least the presidents that we have a shot of electing are going to limit their own power, are going to follow their constitutional guidelines unless somehow in 2016 we elect a Gary Johnson or someone to that effect. I don't even think Rand Paul is going to be really the guy who's going to do it. He might take some steps in the right direction. but I don't think he's going to be the guy that really restores our constitutional republic. So I have very little faith in the federal government to do much of anything in that regard at all. But we are going to take a quick break here, and I want you folks, I know you're listening out there, give us a call. 800-525-4032. Give us a call, quite frankly, because I'm very rusty at this, and it's going to be extremely difficult for me to carry a 3-hour show without, just going into a campaign speech or something, and nobody wants that. I mean, that's the threat. If you don't call in the program and give us something to talk about, I am just going to go into a stump speech, and it's going to be a 3-hour stump speech. So call the program, 800-525-4032, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground on the 1787 Radio Network. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 800 800-525-4032 on the Refresh Telecom hotline, which is not turning your information over to the NSA or the Department of Homeland Security. These are guys you want handling your phone system because they won't do that. They're good folks. They're libertarians. So Refresh Telecom hotline, 800-525-4032. Please call in the program. I'm begging you because I did absolutely zero show prep. And I'm extremely rusty as a radio talk host. I haven't done this in about a year. So,
But you're doing a really good job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
proud
it
of
comes
you.
back pretty quickly,
Yeah,
you know.
it's like riding a bike.
Now, and if you're just tuning in and you're wondering why you're hearing my voice, the revolution has begun. I have liberated the Liberty Underground show. It is restored to its original. The tyrant is gone. It's back to its founding principles of But we were talking in the first segment about some of the Supreme Court rulings. And Greg, you actually told me about one. I've been on the road so much lately, I didn't have the opportunity. Can you brief us on the other important Supreme Court ruling?
Absolutely. I thought the best ruling that came out of the Supreme Court was the ruling that protects us from warrantless searches of our cell phones. In a 28-page opinion from Justice Roberts, basically, police officers are not allowed to take your cell phone in an arrest-related search without a warrant specifically giving them access to your phone. As it has been, lately, cops are just asking you for your cell phone when they pull you over, and they go through your phone and look, and who are you calling, and what are you doing, and what are you saying, and they're using that to implicate people in further charges when there's no right to do that, and that's completely unconstitutional.
Oh yeah, a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment.
So Robert's opinion, very strong as far as the privacy implications and access to data, to the data on individual smartphones. One of the pieces here, I'm just going to read a piece of it. Modern cell phones as a category implicate privacy concerns far beyond those implicated by the search of a cigarette pack, a wallet, or a purse. An internet search and browsing history, for example, can be found on an internet-enabled phone and could reveal an individual's private interests or concerns, perhaps a search for certain symptoms of disease, coupled with frequent visits to WebMD. Like I said, it's a 28-page opinion, so we don't want to read it all, but I think that's a great point that if you're searching about herpes on WebMD, you don't need to be embarrassed by the cops when they pull you over because of your taillight being out.
Well, and that's extremely good news because I have to tell you I investigate a lot of things, both in my my former life as being an investigative journalist and now as running for governor and researching issues and things like that. And that often pops into my mind. I'm doing this search for this obscure thing or this thing that, may be an illegal thing or what have you. And I'm wondering, what if law enforcement had access to this? What could they, imply from that? Which is why I use Tor and XQuick and a whole bunch of other proxy servers and a lot of things that I learned in my capacity as a professional white hat hacker that I don't want to disclose on the air. Having said that, though, if law enforcement, and I'm sure this is true for most people. I mean, sometimes you're just curious about something, randomly look something up, and it could potentially be an implication. Now, what's also going to be interesting is how far this ruling applies. And since it is a ruling from the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the Fourth Amendment in regards to requiring a warrant for cell phones, I assume this would apply to tablets, PDAs, that sort of thing, laptops. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting if this essentially ends the practice of the Department of Homeland Security, the TSA and immigration of having a 100-mile border exclusion zone. Now, if you're not familiar with that, basically the Department of Homeland Security has a rule, and it's not much more than a rule, that anything within 100 miles of a U.S. border or a international airport is essentially considered a Fourth Amendment free zone. They can search your PDA. They can search your. I'm dating myself with PDA, aren't I?
You totally are.
Yeah, I know.
You still use a stylus?
Actually, I don't. I'm pretty high tech, but I've been in this game for so long. Sometimes I still, when I get on the internet, want to dial my rotary phone and put it on a modem cradle. But they don't have the authority to search your electronic devices. We'll just stick to that, and I'll cover all bases. But the Department of Homeland Security has been doing that. And now, if you think about the U.S. border, and when I say the U.S. border, I'm not just talking about Arizona, New Mexico, California, Texas on the Mexican border. I'm talking about every coast of the United States is a U.S. border. So if you consider the geography of Florida, there is not one square inch of Florida. There may be a little, actually I take that back. There may be like a couple of miles up near I-10 as it meets the Georgia line that is not within 100 miles of an U.S. border. But essentially, 99% of the population of Florida or more lives within this 100-mile exclusion zone. They work within this 100-mile exclusion zone. So I haven't had a chance to review this ruling, but it sounds like that's just been nullified. That's gone. They don't have the authority to do that anymore, and that's a great thing. Today I'm much happier with the Supreme Court than I was yesterday, because now that goes away. You are secure in your person, papers, and effects, and it's going to be interesting how broadly that is defined. Now, law enforcement has always needed a warrant if they come into your home, they want to seize your home computer. But if you're traveling with a laptop or you're traveling with a smartphone, they needed zero justification. They just reasonable suspicion was about all they had to apply. And with the DHS, reasonable suspicion was considered being within 100 miles of a border. And that's how they do the checkpoints sometimes in the middle of Texas, middle of New Mexico. They have the DHS checkpoints all over the place. Fortunately, a lot of people are learning that they don't have to comply and they can just say no. And hopefully, if you haven't seen the videos, you should check it out, because sometimes the DHS agents become very forceful, try to force people, and depending on how strenuously the individual defends their constitutional rights will depend on whether they're allowed to leave. But more and more, I think the border agents have caught on that if you push it too far, you're probably going to be on a YouTube video with 500,000 hits. So you probably don't want to do that. I've noticed more and more they're getting less aggressive about that. But that is a big precedent and ruling by the court to ensure that our Fourth Amendment rights are protected, because the Fourth Amendment has been one of our inalienable rights that has been so decimated lately. I wonder if I can use any of this in my Real ID fight. I bet you I can.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I did pull up the ACLU's map of the Constitution-free zone of the United States based on the 100 miles within the border ruling. All of Florida is covered. You have to go north of Valdosta, Georgia, to get back into the Constitution zone.
Okay. Lake City must now have an international airport or something.
Yeah. According to this graphic, it goes north of Dothan, Alabama, Valdosta, Georgia. The entirety of Florida falls within that. Because what is Florida, 150 miles wide?
Something to that effect.
Something to that effect. You figure both sides of Florida or border, that sandwiches all of Florida into being all border, essentially.
Having driven now the entire state of Florida, including a trip around the entire perimeter of Florida, I can tell you that from Pensacola to Key West, it's about 1.5 light years. Yeah. Very, very long distance. Yeah. Actually, no, it is well over 1,000 miles, if I'm not mistaken, from Key West to Pensacola. It's an amazing... No, that's not quite right. Yeah, the entire perimeter was 1,800 miles, doing the entire perimeter. But, think about that for a minute. Anywhere in the state of Florida, prior to this ruling, and we'll see how it actually is enacted, but prior to this ruling, your electronic devices could be searched at any time for any reason simply because you were within 100 miles of a U.S. border. So kudos to the Supreme Court for getting this one right. I really do need to review this ruling. I actually have to. I've been so busy on the road so much that I haven't even had the opportunity to write my pretrial motions yet for my court case, which is on Monday.
Monday?
Yeah. So this weekend, I managed to block off Sunday. I'm going to spend all of it. You would think that at 44 years old and running for governor of the state of Florida, I would not wait till the last minute to do my homework. Literally, it's due tomorrow.
Well, you already know all the answers.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I just have to, make sure that we get it down on paper in such a way that if the judge rules in my favor to dismiss this case, that it will set a precedent that other people can follow. So the objective is to find out that to get a ruling that Real ID is unconstitutional. Therefore, the provisions for requiring one to get a driver's license are currently unconstitutional, and hopefully we can revert back to the way it was prior to 2010. And maybe I should back up and tell this story. There's probably listeners out there that have no idea what I'm talking about.
There probably are. You were in jail recently.
Yes.
And it's the only time in my life that I've called up other friends and high-fived that a friend was in jail.
Yeah.
Usually it's, oh man, okay, I got $50. How much money you got?
And it was the first I heard that you had gotten arrested, and I immediately called Alex, and it was like the only time I've ever called somebody. I was celebrating. Yeah, our friend's in jail.
You know what's funny? I made one call from jail. And that call was to Danielle, who is also my campaign manager, as well as the deposed member of the Liberty Underground show. But we'll let her back. Just Alex can't come back. And my first words to her is, "I need you to write a press release." And then at the end of the conversation, it was, "Oh, by the way, can you call my wife?" But. I'll back up a little bit, and for those of you that know the story, just humor me here for a minute. For those of you who don't, in 2011, I went to renew my driver's license, and it was shortly after I learned about Real ID. And if you're not familiar with Real ID, what that is, that's a federal law enacted in 2005, was implemented by the state of Florida in 2010. And what that says is when you go to get a driver's license, get a state ID, renew a driver's license, renew a state ID, you have to submit an array of documentation, including original birth certificate, original Social Security card, marriage license, if you've ever been divorced or your name's ever changed, divorce decrees, utility bills, in some cases bank statements. It's a real challenge for a lot of people. In fact, Veronica, you are having a tremendous problem yourself with that.
Thank you so much for fighting this fight for me, because I just can't. I have a 5-year-old to chase around, and I just... you see the Red Bull over there. I cannot get a Florida driver's license if I want one. I am a Navy brat. I was born in Athens, Greece. I do not have a birth certificate. I have a report of American born abroad. In all of the moving in my 40 years on this planet, that piece of paper is gone. I have my North Carolina driver's license. I have my original social security card. I have my original birth certificate, which is in Greek. I cannot.
Apparently, it's Greek to the DHS.
It is Greek to them. I cannot get this man here, he has to take me to grocery store. I cannot get a driver's license. Not even if I don't agree with Real ID, and I would not want to do that. But even if I did want, I can't.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many people that I've spoken with. I've kind of become the poster boy for this issue in Florida. So I get calls several times per week from people who are in the same situation. And really, there's two camps of people. There's people who say, "I will not comply. This is a violation of my rights," and there are others that say, "I can't." I've talked to so many people. I don't have my original birth certificate. I have no idea what happened to it. I was adopted. I didn't have it. I was a lot of examples of Americans born overseas, like your situation, and you literally cannot get a driver's license. And that also means that under the Real ID Act, the federal government will not recognize you as a person.
I can't vote for you.
Right. Right.
I'm out there holding signs for you and knocking doors for you, but I can't vote for you.
Well, actually, theoretically, I can't vote for myself. Now, however,
I didn't think about that.
I've learned a little bit of the Jedi mind trick over the years without driver's license. Like, for example, I voted with no problem in 2012, and I've voted in a couple smaller elections since then. I have no problem. Usually I just go into the polling place, and you know how they have those big pads. I don't know about your county, but in Pinellas County where I live, they have the big pads with the voter rolls, and your name is on it, your address is on it, and you sign right next to it. And they always ask for me ID, and I say, oh, no, there's my name right there. Let me just sign, turn the book around for me. And they always comply. I just sign and go and vote. But, you know, the thing is so you've got a whole... They're creating a subclass of Americans who can't provide that documentation, and a subclass of Americans who are standing on their constitutional rights and refuse to provide that information. And I'm sure there's a few folks out there saying, well, you know, so you have to turn in a lot of documentation. So what? Well, it gets a little worse than that. You're not just showing that documentation to the person at the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. When you go get all that information, which is their, you know, fun little website, gathergoget.com or something like that. When you do that, the person at the DHSMV, the clerk, takes it behind the counter and goes in a back room and scans it into a database. And that database is uploaded to a federal database. So now, essentially, all of your documentation is in one location, which is, as an IT security professional, I can tell you is just a huge target for identity thieves. If you want to take over someone's identity, you've got everything you need right there. But also, it is a national identification system. So that national ID card that everyone was talking about, and the people of America said, no, we don't want a national ID card. Well, here's what Congress did. They kind of changed the rules on you. In 2005, they amended a tsunami relief bill to get Real ID passed. It was an amendment to a tsunami relief bill. So everybody on the Congress floor, oh yeah, we got to help. And you know, next thing you know, we have a national ID card backdoored through legislature that no one really paid any attention to. But so they take all your documentation, all that personal, private information, and they scan it into the national database. But there's something a little more egregious in my book. When they stand you up in front of the blue background to take your photograph,
and tell you can't smile.
Right, yeah, they don't smile. There's a reason for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's because that it is no longer a photograph. Right. What it is, it's a digital facial image capture that is compatible with facial recognition software technology and is scanned into a national database managed by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, the progression of that has been that, and we'll just use Pinellas County because I've done a lot of research on this. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office has integrated that driver's license facial recognition data set into something called the FRNet, Facial Recognition Network is what they call it. And that is shared by law enforcement across the country. And Pinellas County has started integrating surveillance cameras around Pinellas County with the facial recognition network. So if you're passing in front of one of these surveillance cameras, they instantly identify you. Yeah. And not only that, 170 at last, this was a little while ago when I checked the number, but they had 170 mobile units deployed to deputies. So as deputies are driving around, they can take a facial image capture and immediately have a full identification on somebody without any due process, without a warrant, without reasonable suspicion, without probable cause, which is absolutely unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has ruled in that regard on many different occasions. Additionally, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the traffic cameras, and I'm not talking about the red light cameras. The red light cameras are behind you. They take a picture of your tag. Those need to go too.
And there's a big box that is connected to it, and you can tell when it's a red light camera.
Oh, yeah.
There's a large system that's all tied to.
But what I'm talking about is the actual traffic cameras. When you're sitting at a traffic light and you look up at the crossbar and you see the red lights there and the turn signal there, and look up. you'll see a little camera pointed right at your face. And what that is, that's a high-resolution camera. Has infrared. It's has anti-glare systems so that if there's glare on your windshield, it can define through it. And it is tied to something called the Intelligent Transportation System. What that is a fiber optic uplink to local control centers, they call them, where all that information is fed and recorded and stored, and now soon to be integrated with the facial recognition network. Now, I haven't been able to get all the details, but that's the direction they're going. I don't know how far it's been implemented. I don't know how far it's gone yet, but that's what they're working towards. Now, these facial recognition software systems can actually identify a face in a moving vehicle in 1/20th of a second. So what that means is...
It means that they don't have to go via your papers.
Yeah, exactly. They know.
They've already got your papers for you to have a driver's license.
Exactly. And they can track you everywhere you go.
So
and they've got
freedom of movement. Awesome.
Anonymity is gone. The government knows who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. So in order to fight all this, I decided to surrender my driver's license and to intentionally get arrested. And so when I first did it back on May 17th, 2011, I refused to comply with Real ID. I said, I'm here to renew my driver's license, but I'm not going to give you the additional information, and I'm not going to submit to a facial recognition scan unless you provide a warrant. They said, no warrant, and if you don't do that, you're not getting a driver's license under Real ID. I said, fine. So I got in my car, started driving around, started calling local law enforcement on myself. They wouldn't do anything about it.
Apparently, you called someone's manhood into question.
Oh, well, that was later. Yeah. After a couple of months on the Liberty Underground radio show, I said that Sheriff Jim Coates, who was Pinellas County Sheriff at the time, didn't have the stones to pull me over. And within a few hours, I was surrounded by deputies getting a ticket. And now that first ticket I did challenge on constitutional grounds. It was a $116 fine at the time. And it was amazing. I first went to traffic court and started making my argument, and it was a magistrate, not a judge at the time, said, "Oh, I can't deal with this. This is too big for me. I gotta postpone it." Yeah.
Sorry, I sit at the kiddie table of the justice system. I can't do this.
Right. Well, the magistrates, that's all they are, is attorneys that put on a robe every once in a while and pretend to be judges. But so they actually rescheduled it for a full trial with a real judge. In fact, they assigned one of the most senior judges in the 6th Judicial Circuit to it. And Pam Bondi sent down a couple of prosecutors as well. So I argued the case, and again, it's still for a $116 traffic ticket. The judge had to deliberate for a week before returning a verdict, and the verdict was that I did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Real ID was unconstitutional. So after that time, for 2.5 years, I had complete immunity. I mean, law enforcement would not pull me over under any circumstances. It was like, I almost wondered, and I never verified this, I almost wondered, like, when you run my tag, would there some kind of flag in there that said, don't pull this guy over? Because I got tagged speeding one time, and the law enforcement officer pulled in behind me, ran my tag, and then went around me. That's happened on several occasions. But anyway, finally.
Okay, next time I need to go buy drugs, guess who's going to take me?
Okay, for the record, I'm not taking you to buy drugs.
I thought you were a libertarian.
I am, but
not that kind of libertarian.
There's limits here. I support your right to do it. I'm not going to comply. But the point is this went on for a long time, and I thought I had immunity, but on May 9th, all of that changed, and I was actually scheduled to be a honored guest at a charity event where Senator Jack LaValla was the keynote speaker.
It seems you only get arrested when you make someone mad.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I have to back up a little bit.
You called someone's manhood into question, and you got in trouble.
That's a good point.
Then yes.
I actually, thank you, Veronica. I never made that connection before right now. It's really not until I really piss somebody off that I get into real trouble. So, and the backstory is on that. Jack LaValla. 2 or 3 weeks before the incident where, well, I'll tell the story of the incident, probably after the break in the second hour. But 2 or 3 weeks before there, I was up in Tallahassee, as I often am, lobbying for liberty legislation or against, legislation that is going to cost us more money or take away our freedoms. In this case, I was lobbying for the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which was a great piece of legislation. It actually gave the state some authority to nullify unconstitutional federal firearms restrictions, gave the bill some teeth, for enforcement of people who take away Second Amendment rights of the citizens of Florida. So it was a good bill. And I'm up in the state Senate, and I'm talking to legislators, lobbying for this bill, trying to get it passed, and I run into Jack LaValla in the hallway. And I was there with Danielle at the time. And I said, hey, Jack, I wanted to talk to you about the Second Amendment Preservation Act. I said, what are you thinking about that? How are you going to vote on it when it hits the floor? And he goes, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. Just total brush off, right? And, fortunately, I had, Wikipedia next to me, Danielle. And she pipes up immediately and she goes, Senator LaValla, you've actually, that's already been through your committee, and you voted no on it in your committee. And he tried to say, well, I didn't read it. I said something to the effect of, wait a second, you voted on it, it went through your committee, you didn't read it? I said, all right, fine, I'll let that go. So how are you going to vote on it when it, hits the floor? Are you going to vote in favor of it? And he goes, well, I guess I'm going to vote however I voted last time now, aren't I? And he, walked away in a huff. And Jim, Big Jim, who handles my events, was with me as well. And this was the first time he'd ever been to Tallahassee. And I warned him that it's a cesspool, it's a viper's den. And he was. You
will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yes, exactly. And on the way up, I was warning him, but he kind of had a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington type, attitude about it. He was excited about getting involved in the process and everything. And I said, look, man, when we leave there, you're going to need a shower. You're going to feel dirty. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to ball up in a fetal position in the tub saying, I can't get clean. So anyway, as LaValla is walking away from me, he goes, we're not on terrestrial in this hour, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Not yet. He
goes to me, I can't believe he said that to you. I can't believe he talked to you like that. And I said, well, he's an asshole. And LaValla heard me because he was only a few steps away at the time, and he turns around and looks over his shoulder, and I just smiled at him. It's like,
just calling it as it is.
Yeah, it's a strike. What do you want me to do?
Prove me wrong.
Yeah. And so LaValla and I had our run-ins in the past, but I think that was the thing that turned me from someone who was a nuisance and to a flat-out enemy. And after the break, we will talk about what happened from that point going forward and how our dear friend Senator LaValla is involved. But hey, folks, you're not calling in. Call in. Call in the program. Salvage me here. I'm straining here. I'm having to tell stories I've told 1,000 times because you're not calling in and saving me. I went through the trouble of liberating the Liberty Underground show for you. And this is the repayment I get. The Refresh Telecom number is 800-525-4032. Again, that's 800-525-4032. We're inviting. We gotta remember to call Rick Scott and Charlie Christ again in the second hour to make sure we give them equal time. This is the Liberty Underground show on the 1787 Radio Network, and we'll be back in just a minute.
is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
This is Liberty Underground with Adrian Wiley, not Alex Snicker. Actually, you know, I actually do the voiceover for the intro, so I could probably have pulled that off. But Adrian Wiley here with you, the Prime Minister of the Sinister, Greg Bowen, and also in studio with me to my right is Veronica. And we were imploring people to call before the break, and we got a taker here. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 800-525-4032. But before we do that, we want to go to the phones. We've got Steven. How you doing, Steven?
Hold on, I'm transferring him over. There he is.
Steven, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, good to hear from you. What's going on today?
Hi, hello, Mr. Wiley. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Just don't say dittos, okay?
Oh, of course.
But Steven, first of all, call me Adrian. And what's on your mind, my friend?
Well, actually, I have two things on my mind. I was avidly listening to your description of the travesty that is Real ID, and I picked up my my driver's license, and I have a classic one that's good till 2021.
Nice.
I read somewhere that I'm going to be forced to either surrender or comply with Real ID in 2017. Who do I listen to? The card in my hand, or somewhere that I read on a government website?
Well, the way the law works, and it's actually going to be phased in. You could be it could be as soon as 2015. It's kind of a moving target right now. But what the difference is that the federal government is going to stop recognizing non-Real ID compliant identification cards sometime here in the near future. So what that means is that you will not be able to walk into a federal building. You will not be able to do business with the federal government, anything that requires identification. You will not be able to board any form of transportation that requires you to present identification, such as an airplane, some train stations, anything having to do with the TSA. Basically, they are going to stop recognizing unless you have a Real ID compliant driver's license. Now, if you're willing to forego any involvement with the federal government, then you can keep your existing driver's license until it expires. But with a little luck, depending on the outcome of this court case, I'm hoping to have the Real ID Act ruled unconstitutional and therefore overturned in Florida, so we won't have to deal with that. Now, also, a lot of states are not complying. So it's not like every state in the union is on board with this. I think there's 18 states that have failed to comply with Real ID and are just saying no.
Which is why I have a North Carolina driver's license, because they did not require that, original Social Security card, and I was good to go.
Yeah, so that's Stephen. That's really the situation right now. You can keep that driver's license, but after some point, somewhere between 2015 and 2017, I guess if they're recently saying 2017, they probably moved it back because they're still what they're doing is they're trying to get those states that aren't compliant to become compliant, and they're basically using your tax dollars to bribe the states to force them to take away your rights. Some states are biting, some states aren't. So that's why they keep pushing the deadline back, because there is a lot of resistance from the states and from the people to the Real ID Act. So, and you said you had another thing you wanted to talk about?
Yes. When you're elected as our first libertarian governor of Florida, what can we do at a state level to get the government out of the way of just stop picking winners in the development of energy technologies?
Yes. Absolutely.
Specifically, though, nuclear technologies.
Right. Well, it basically, we need to get back to a system in the state of Florida where energy is a free market enterprise. I want to start, moving to demonopolize. Is that a word?
It kind of sounded like demonize.
Demonize. Yeah. Well,
I
like it.
So, yeah,
I don't know if it's a real word, but I want to start using it.
Since I think that government forced monopolies are demonic, we'll go ahead with that. So I want to move to demonopolize the industry, energy industry. There's so many. It's funny because a lot of people think that we have federal organizations like the Environmental Protection Agency that are there to protect us from the evil energy corporations. But in reality, they do two things. They give them a pass to be polluters and to be harmful to the people without any recourse other than a slap on the wrist type fine from the EPA. And the other thing that they do is they ensure that developing clean, green technologies, energy technologies, are squashed at every opportunity. Case in point, there was a movement to. I love. That sounds to me like a very
little person,
boisterous and inspired young voter in the background.
Yes, it is.
But what they do is like, for example, there was a movement to actually install electricity generating turbines on the seabed of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic coast around Florida. And these would harness the energy of the Gulf Stream. So essentially, they're using the Gulf Stream to turn turbines, generate electricity. It was completely green, extremely cheap. It was going to provide us a huge amount of power. Well, the EPA...
Oh, are we talking about...
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Are we talking about the FAU
Yes.
tidal energy project?
Exactly. And the reason that we don't have that today is because of the EPA came in and said, well, you can't do that because we're going to have problems with it. The turbines interfering with fish and marine mammals, and they're going to chop them up and things like that. Let alone the fact that these turbines are so massive that you could, and so slow moving that you could easily swim through them without any problem whatsoever. And being a libertarian, I thought the solution was, well, if that's the case, let's just set up a sushi shop on the other end of it, and we're killing two birds with one stone. But I'm being facetious there, folks. Don't send me any hate mail. But that's the kind of thing that we have to understand. So one of the things that I intend to do as governor is to implement the Florida Interstate Commerce Act, which will say that any business operating exclusively within the borders of Florida will be immune from any federal regulation. And we have the authority to do this under the United States Constitution because the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, which the federal government uses to, get their dirty little fingers into absolutely every sector of our economy, really was designed only to apply to commerce occurring between states. It was never designed to apply to commerce within a state. It was set up to regulate. And when you look at we were talking about the evolution of words. If you look at the evolution of regulate, in those days it meant to make regular.
Right.
The purpose of the Commerce Clause of the Constitution was to ensure that Georgia wasn't charging Florida a tariff on goods that were imported into Georgia from Florida. So it was to make regular trade between the states. But that has been so bastardized over the years. So once we get that implemented, that will open the floodgates for the development of alternative energy sources, such as, you were talking about nuclear. I think that thorium reactors, for example, may be very...
that is exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, we're on the same page there. I've read a lot of research, and this looks like a very, very promising nuclear energy alternative that is extremely safe and doesn't have the Chernobyl, Fukushima potential that we see currently with uranium-based fuel rods and the necessities that go along with keeping them cool and the potential for meltdown and critical mass events. So that is something that when we get the federal government out of the way, that's something that we can allow to start developing. And quite frankly, I've got to be honest with you, I don't like existing nuclear energy. I think it's tremendously dangerous. So that's a serious problem. We've seen too many events, so I'm not a big fan of that. So I think if we can look into ways to have this type of cheap, clean, green energy without having to get the buy-in from the federal government and without having those restrictions from the federal government, we're going to be a whole lot better off. So, that's the direction I'm going to take it. I also want to strip some of the power from the PSC, and anything we can do to take away the monopoly status from the energy industry and to implement more free market solutions into energy is what we're going to do. So, Stephen, do you have anything else for us?
Have you talked to Kirk Sorensen at Fly Energy yet?
I have not. Huh.
He's a former NASA rocket surgeon working on deep space probes that fell in love with thorium, and Flybe is his nuclear company. They're currently having to pay the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, $250 an hour to train them on thorium cycle nuclear technologies. His company is having to pay the government to keep up with current developments of technology.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Steven, can you do me a favor? Can you email me or text me something like that, Facebook, something like that? Send me his contact information. I'd love to get in touch with him.
I will do that. His company is based in Alabama, actually, but I think we could lure them over with the promise of no having to deal with the NRC within our state.
Yep. I bet he's up in Huntsville, isn't he?
Actually, he is.
Yeah, been up there a few times. I actually used to work for a company. I was an application engineer with surface tribology, and did a lot of work with NASA. Actually, did some very minimal work with one of the Deep Space One probe. So we probably traveled in a few of the same circles back in the day. But yeah, Stephen, thanks very much for the call. Send me his information. I'll reach out to him.
I will do that.
All right. Thanks very much. Greg, I heard the phones lighting up there. Do we have another caller?
We have it. We do. Let me bring him on the line. Hold on just a sec.
Okay.
You can keep talking.
Oh, you told me to hang on.
He did.
You expected me to be a radio professional here? I mean, come on. I'm rusty.
It's all good. No one's expecting too much from us, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Folks, set your expectations low. You won't be disappointed.
Exactly.
It's just like dealing with the government.
Exactly. So now, do we have someone?
Yes, we do now have another caller on the line. This is Drew from Daytona Beach.
Hey, Drew, how you doing? Welcome to the program. Drew, are you there? You broke it, Greg.
I didn't break it.
You're not doing very well with the levers, buttons, and knobs, and all that stuff.
I mean, it does look very technical.
I transferred him over. The call's here.
It's broken. So. Hey, Drew, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Give us a call back. Anyway, I wanted to let everyone know that after the bottom of the hour break, we're going to have a special guest on the line. This is a gentleman by the name of Casper, and he is the
friendly ghost.
He's not the friendly ghost, but he is the friendly tattoo artist in Plant City that you may have seen on some of the local newscasts recently. He has purchased a historic building and is trying to move his family upstairs, move his business downstairs, and of course, government is preventing him from doing so and getting engaged in commerce and creating new jobs. And we're going to talk to him about his battle against government. And now I've gone so long,
That's
and
because tattoos are bad. Okay.
and that is kind of the mindset there of the some of the folks that are trying to stop this in Plant City. As someone who has a little bit of ink myself, I do like tats and have no problem with them. I don't think they are the stigma. I don't think I'll be getting any on my neck or my forehead or anything like that. But someone who
For
has
those of you that do not know, this amazing man sitting to my left. Yes, left.
This hand.
Yeah, that's the L. Okay. Has an amazing tattoo on his forearm. Please show camera.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, bring it up for the camera.
We the people. You get that ink, that's the man I'm voting for.
That's our tattooed governor.
Yeah, well, I got that about 5 years ago. And it was really when I started getting seriously involved in politics, when I made the decision I'm going to fight. And underneath it says, with my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor, this I will defend. And it's I put it on the inside of my forearm as a reminder to myself of the battle I'm fighting and why we're doing what we're doing. So anyway, that's the story there. I guess we don't really have time to get back into. I guess I could probably wrap up before 10:30 on the story of the real ID thing. So we were talking before the break, and we got to the part where I called Jack.
You made someone.
Made
someone unhappy.
Yeah,
Do that.
and for those of you who don't know, Jack Latvala is the power broker in Pinellas County. If you want to do anything politically, for example, his now ex-wife is a county commissioner, Sue Latvala. His son, Chris Latvala, is running for state house. Latvala, he's the boss tweed of Pinellas County. And if you want to, and Jack, I know you're probably listening, so screw you.
You're still what he called you in the halls.
Yeah, exactly. So anything that happens politically, especially in the Republican Party, has to go through Jack LaValla. For example, he owns a printing company. And if you are a candidate in Pinellas County and you have an R behind your name, you will use Jack LaValla's printing company for all your campaign materials. And if you don't, you will lose. It is as simple as that. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. And he is indicative of the kind of attitude that is prevalent in Tallahassee throughout our state legislature. They all have, with very few exceptions, and there are a few exceptions, and I'm not going to give names right now, but I just know that there are a few exceptions. But if you're listening and thinking it's your guy, it's not. Okay. But the thing is they all have some type of backroom deal. They all have some type of brother-in-law or something where they're getting a kickback, or they've got some business entity that's benefiting from some. Hey, Greg, pot down your mic, buddy. Okay. Oh, you are?
My mic is down.
Oh, okay. They've all got something going on there, and Jack LaValla is a prime example of it. But so anyway, where was I going with that? We're getting back to the arrest, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for.
I wanted to know how jail was.
Jail was fun, actually.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I'll get to that in a second. But,
By the way, I think it's hilarious that you made him angry and he thought he was hurting you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was helping
Yeah,
you. It's
yeah.
like, thank you for doing what I've been trying to get done for years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to get arrested. Thank you so much. You thought you were doing
well,
something.
I sent him a thank you note the next day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he didn't respond.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But here's what happened. So anyway, he didn't initially know when he was scheduled as the keynote speaker for this charity event. He didn't know that I was going to be there as well. I was arrested on a Friday, May 9th, and on Tuesday night, the official program for the event went out. And it had me listed as, honored guest or guest of honor, special guest, something like that. So it said, Jack LaValla, keynote speaker, Adrian Wiley, special guest. And I talked to the organizer, and they said, oh, yeah, we sent it out to Jack LaValla and everyone who was involved. We sent it out, the program, on Wednesday. Well, Wednesday night, I get a friend request from Jack LaValla on Facebook. Okay.
I didn't know that.
And I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting. All right, I'll accept. We'll see what's going on here. And it was his personal account, and I looked. He had like 80 friends at the time, so it wasn't like his public. Right. It was his actual personal account. And I think he was trying to make sure that I was going to be there. So I get to this event. It was scheduled to start at 11 o'clock. It was a luncheon. Beforehand, there was like a blind auction for charity, and then there was a luncheon where everyone spoke and stuff like that. And it's at the Safety Harbor Resort and Spa. And I actually was pulling into the parking lot of the Safety Harbor Resort and Spa when I first noticed the two Pinellas County Sheriff's SUVs behind me. Okay, I thought, no big deal. Always deputies behind me. So I pull into the parking lot. I pull into the parking space. I put it in park. And the two vehicles pull in behind me and block me in and turn on the lights. So I was literally in a parking spot when they pulled me over, and they.
Okay, I thought you got to speak, and then they arrested you as you were leaving.
No, they arrested me as I was
even
going
get
in.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes to 11. The thing started at 11. I was getting there a little bit early, and so I think that those guys were like on the perimeter of the parking lot just waiting for me. So I pull in the parking space, and they block me in, and they approach the window, and they address me by name before they did anything else. It's like, Mr. Wiley, do you have your driver's license, registration, and insurance card? And same old answer. Yeah, here's my registration, here's my insurance, and for those of you that are wondering, I do have full insurance coverage, so I'm not a menace to anyone on the roads. And then I said I don't have a driver's license, and here's why, and I explained it to them. And they said, step out of the vehicle. And I actually got excited, and it took them back. I said, oh, fantastic. You're actually going to arrest me. And they kind of looked at each other, and, because I don't think there was one deputy there that knew who I was. But there were a total of 6 deputies. Right, I know.
They were expecting some trouble.
Well, there was actually, it ended up being 6 deputies, 4 vehicles, and one of them was the actual paddy wagon, for lack of a better term. They transported me in a paddy wagon, But so one of the guys seemed like he knew who I was and what was going on, and the others didn't. The arresting officer didn't. So they're actually taking stuff out of my wallet, and they're pulling things out, and they see my Libertarian Party card, and they put it down, and then they see my Oath Keepers card, because I am a member of Oath Keepers, and he pulls those out separately and takes pictures of them, and he's like, "So, you're a Libertarian, huh? That's a violent hate group." I'm like, no. And Oath Keepers, they're a bunch of revolutionaries. I'm like, let me explain to you what it is. So it was great. So I actually had the opportunity to explain what the Libertarian Party stands for, what Oath Keepers were, and at the end he was like, "Oh, okay, doesn't sound bad." And then one of the other deputies, as I'm in the backseat cuffed, comes over and says, yeah, I listen to your radio show. You guys are great. And so what happened is they all went to the other vehicle because the one cop was talking to the others, and they started Googling me. And at first they were like real, like, we got ourselves a militant here, And afterwards they were all like really cool and really supportive and like, yeah, that's interesting. So tell me about this. Well, so what do you think about? They were actually asking me questions about what
they're gonna vote for you.
2 of them did say they were going to vote for me. So then they transport me to the jail. Now they give, and again, I'm having fun. I got to admit though, the only time I was a little bit creeped out was when I was in the back of the paddy wagon, cuffed in the back of the paddy wagon. That was weird because it's actually just a steel box,
right?
And there's only like a couple of holes where you can see light in. So that was a little bit weird. But I get to the station, they let me out, they book me in, take my photo, and they put me into a holding cell. Now, the holding cell was pretty interesting. It was a bunch of rather frightening-looking people because they had just done a gang sweep of South St. Pete. And, there was a whole bunch of people that were not real happy about being in a holding cell. And apparently they had arrested the entire gang, except for one guy. So they were all trying to figure out who the snitch was. And they were talking about things like they're going to creep on him as soon as they get out. So I hope whoever this individual was has left town, because if not, I got a hunch that something bad happened to him.
They're creeping on you.
Yeah. So I walk in there and I say, you know what? Here I am, a middle-aged white guy in a suit. I better make my presence known here. So if you've never been in a holding cell, it's basically a big concrete room with concrete benches and a steel toilet in the corner. Wide open, everything like that.
How many people fit in one of these rooms?
There was probably about 10 people in there at the time, including myself. But they could probably, if they really packed it tight, sitting, arm to arm, you'd probably fit about 15, 16 people in there.
Okay.
So it was.
I have
not
no
completely
personal
full.
experience with.
Yeah, I've never been to jail before. It was an interesting experience. So I'm in this situation. I think, well, you know what? I might want to not, come in here looking like a pasty, pudgy, middle-aged white guy. I might want to show a little, show a little
Got
toughness
some
here.
street cred.
Yeah, get a little street cred. So the first thing I do when I walk into the room is I head straight for the toilet, and I start urinating, for lack of a better term, and I look over my shoulder as I'm doing it and say, "So, what are you guys in here for?" So I was, kind of marking my territory a little bit, but it actually turned out really well.
This is my toilet.
I liberated the holding cell. But I told the guys who I was, and I'm a Libertarian candidate for governor, and they were like, "Oh man!" And so we started talking policy issues in there. And though I got the impression that probably most of those guys didn't have voting rights, I think the ones that did are probably going to vote for me as well. So I'm campaigning in there, and then they take you to a bigger area, and this is like the main processing room. And so word was starting to spread around who I was, and people were coming up to me, and everybody's yelling, "Governor, governor," and so it was really a good time, and so many people were asking me questions in there. Now, to give you the idea, it's like a big room, probably 150 feet by 150 feet, with stadium seating. Well, just like rows of chairs. It's not stadium because it's not inclined; it's level. And it's everyone there waiting to be processed. Some are going to the jail, some are going to fingerprinting, some are going to the facial recognition scan and full body scan, things. I'll tell you about that in probably in the next hour. And so everybody's waiting in there. And the rule is you sit there, you don't move, you don't talk. Well, everyone's wanting to talk to me, and people are shouting from across the thing. And so it got to the point where I was answering so many questions, I finally just stood up and walked to the front of the room and started giving a speech. And the deputies actually let it roll, even though I was breaking all the rules. The deputies let me go for a little while before one of them finally said, "All right, Governor, you sit down and shut up now."
Well, now they have to throw Rick Scott and Charlie Crist in jail so they can get equal time.
Equal time, exactly. I'll tell the rest of the story probably in the beginning of the next hour. But when we come back, hopefully we're going to have our guest on the air talking about what's going on in Plant City. And if you'd like to be a part of the program, please call in. I want to hear from you folks. I know you're out there listening. I want to hear what you have to say. The Refresh Telecom hotline, 800-525-4032, 800-525-4032. This is Liberty Underground. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground on the 1787 Radio Network. All right, we were talking a little bit before about how government basically stifles small business. And we have someone on the line who's experienced that firsthand and has been fighting it. Probably you've seen him on TV. He's made a lot of news lately. He has just initiated a lawsuit against the city of Plant City. And, I think this is absolutely great that he's taking on this challenge. On the phone with us now is Casper Geist. Casper, welcome to the program. Did I pronounce that correctly? Is it Geist?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit and start from the beginning. Tell us about the environment for your business, which you're a tattoo artist. You own a tattoo shop in Plant City. Tell us what you went through initially just to be able to have that business in Plant City and why.
Well, where we're at now is a temporary location. We're in a 300 square foot building that I had to rent. I own a 5,000 square foot building 4 blocks away from the place we rented, and there's an ordinance in place that says that you're not allowed to tattoo in Plant City. There's no tattooing. First, there was no tattooing in Plant City limits at all, and then a court case in California deemed tattooing protected under the First Amendment right, and they changed the law to, and they kind of weaseled it, because what they did is they said, okay, well, we're going to go and change it because California is saying it's protected under the First Amendment right, so we're going to change it. So we're going to allow tattooing inside Plant City city limits, but we're going to exclude the downtown, the Midtown redevelopment area, and the historic districts, which is almost the whole city.
Right. Now, originally...
and certainly all the busy areas.
Now, before you actually got involved, there was no tattooing allowed in the entire city of Plant City. But then,
Correct.
because...
No, that's not necessarily true. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. But so what you did to find the location, the temporary location that you're in now, the 300 square foot building, is you found a little bitty postage stamp of space, which happened to be a retail location, which happened to be for rent, that was outside of the various historical districts and business corridor and so on and so forth, which tattooing was banned. Tell us
Correct.
about how you found that and describe the actual space to us.
Okay. When I went to the zoning department twice trying to get a tattoo business tax and set up a tattoo business before I ever rented any place, and I got turned down twice. 2 areas were completely ridiculous. They weren't even really close to those areas, but the Midtown redevelopment area is something they're going to do in the next 10 to 15 years. They say they're prepping for it now. They're doing certain things. And it's like a big kid at a buffet. They just got their arms around everything and saying, this is our Midtown redevelopment area, so nobody can touch anywhere here. I went on their website and grabbed all those zoning maps, and I put it in Photoshop, laid it on top of each other, and I did find a spec. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I went and checked it out, and it said for rent on the side of the building. Now this is a shed connected to a building that they were storing lawn equipment in. It was a 300 square foot building with those old gas station bathrooms that have rust all up the toilet and stuff flowing in, and you don't even want to go near it.
The type you flush with your elbow.
It seemed like that had been involved in the whole building.
Right. Wow.
So there's just a block building. It had old 1960s like crank up windows that were broke, kind of hanging out of the frame. I mean, it was bad. The yard is huge, which is worthless to me. But the yard is huge. It's about a half acre, and it's got these big ruts, and it looks like people have been mud bogging in it. the roof is leaking. The drywall has all just started peeling off the wall, and then where there is not drywall, there's that old 70s paneling.
Uh-huh.
With
Kind of like our
bugs
studio.
crawling out of it everywhere.
Okay, so
And this is the 300 square foot building that you're having to rent?
Yes.
And it's because that's the only location in the city.
This is how we found it.
Yeah.
Well, as someone that has tattoos, we all know that no one wants to walk into a tattoo parlor that does not look like it is pristine. You don't want to go somewhere to get ink from.
Well,
it's got to be clean.
It's gotta be
look
clean.
nice.
Casper has actually remodeled this thing completely,
No, that's
so
what
that's
I'm
how
saying.
we
The
found
300, that's why I said the 300 square foot building that he's having to
Right.
rent
it. Yeah.
is the one that's really gross.
We remodeled it too.
Oh, you remodeled that one too.
We went in and gutted the entire thing. We pulled all that old 70s paneling off. We pulled the toilet, the sink, and all that out. We actually got it down to where we took acid and a pressure washer inside and pressure washed the brick on the inside.
Kill it with
And then
fire,
we
huh?
You have dropped some money.
We went in and we tiled the whole thing, and I mean it's beautiful now. We were able to fix the windows and make them look modern. We put a nice new old fashioned wooden door on it. We pressure washed and acid washed the whole outside and painted it, and it's just this little brick building. You walk in and it looks like it would be in a nice tattoo studio. It doesn't look like it should be the whole tattoo studio, but.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's very clean and very very nice now.
Now, Casper, so our listeners know, you actually purchased an historic building downtown, which I believe it's about 100 years old, and you have completely remodeled this thing, restored it, and your intention was to move your family into the upstairs and to operate your tattoo shop out of the downstairs. Tell us why you can't do that and why you had to find this little postage stamp that, 20 feet on either side, it would be illegal to have a tattoo shop, but you found one tiny space in Plant City where it's actually legal to have a tattoo shop. But tell us why the city is preventing you from moving into this historic building downtown that you have invested your own money to completely restore.
Well, we haven't completely restored the 5,000 square foot building. What we've done so far is we've been focusing on the upstairs because they won't let us move into it because of the ordinance.
Okay.
So we've been focusing on the upstairs. And we've been working steadily on this building for the last 2 years. I'm not a rich guy, and I didn't want to really owe anybody any money. So friends and family and myself have been blood, sweat, and tears over this building for the last 2 years. Hmm. We've probably put, I think my Lowe's account is up to $70,000 is what it says we spent on the building so far.
Ouch.
It's all materials.
Ouch.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's my wife's dream house, and everywhere we've ever lived, we fixed with this build out.
Yeah, yeah.
But this ordinance is keeping us from putting our livelihood below it and making it the perfect scenario. I didn't move out to Plant City to make a bunch of money. I moved out to Plant City to make more time to spend with my 3-year-old.
Right. Now, so tell us more about what the city was doing to prevent you from doing that, what their justifications were, and then I want to hear what you're doing to fight. But start with where you are now, or where you were prior to initiating the lawsuit.
Well, the beauty is that they're just saying it's a business that they don't want in downtown. It's a type of business they don't want. They also have an ordinance for strip clubs.
Yeah, because tattoos are bad. Okay.
Right. Well, but when they're listing the strip club and why they don't want it, there is a reason. For the tattoo shop, there's no reason. It just says we don't want any tattooing in these areas. We went, my attorney Jeff Blumenauer and I, we went and sat down with the city manager and asked him, what's the reason? What do we do? What steps will we take? This was probably 6 to 8 months ago. And he said, well, it was a legislative decision, and we decided that we don't want those kind of businesses downtown. I was like, okay, why? He said, well, he just kept, doing the roundabout circle. It was a legislative decision. It was the city council. I was like,
now
you guys need to go and get a bunch of petitions and spend a bunch of time doing that and get thousands and thousands of signatures, and then we'll decide after that if we're going to vote on it.
Unbelievable. Now, I think it's important to explain to people, this building has been vacant, and this is in the downtown economic redevelopment zone or whatever they call it. They're trying to promote business in there. Here's you, someone who wants to start a business in there, and they're saying no. And if I'm not mistaken, this building has been vacant for 56 years.
Yep,
Is
since
that correct?
1958.
Yeah.
Badcock Furniture moved out in 1958.
So they've got a vacant building that has been sitting there deteriorating for 56 years.
I'm sure it was full of squatters.
Yeah, in the economic redevelopment zone or downtown business district. They have someone who is willing and able to put a thriving business in there to completely refurbish, revitalize, repair the building. And they're saying no because they don't like tattoos. That's pretty much the gist of it?
Yeah, I'm a scumbag.
So tell us about the lawsuit. Where is that going? So they wanted you to get a whole bunch of petitions just so that the city council would vote on it.
Think about it.
Not even just, okay, you get enough petitions and we'll let it go. If you get enough petitions, we will hold a vote on it. That's where
and then he looked me in the eye and said, "But just so you know, it's never going to happen."
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, that's a nice little FU,
Yeah.
So what action did you take at that point when you realized that essentially no matter what you did, no matter what hoops that you jumped through at their requests, there was no way that they were going to voluntarily do this. So what did you do?
Well, I told him to get on the phone and call all his city council members and try to play cash cab, get the right answer, and give us an approval right there while I was in front of him, or we were leaving and we'd see him in court.
And so what the answer to that was just basically no.
Yeah, we got up and left.
Yeah. So now you've been in the media quite a lot lately because you are taking the city to court. You have initiated a lawsuit. Can you tell us, what the basis of the lawsuit is, and what the potential remedies are for it? What are you trying to accomplish out of the suit?
I can tell you a little bit about the suit, but I can't get into a lot of details.
Sure, I
we're suing them on the grounds that it's unconstitutional for me to tell me where I can and can't put my business that is protected under the First Amendment right.
Now, obviously, their attorneys are going to argue, and again, I understand if you can't get into any specific details of your strategy, but obviously their attorneys are going to argue that cities do have the right to have specific zoning, but this goes far beyond zoning. This is not saying, well, this particular block is residential, this particular block is commercial. This is specifically saying that a completely legal business has no authority to operate effectively anywhere in the city, with a couple of gaps in coverage that they overlooked.
Correct.
So
Correct.
What do you?
The zoning is perfect for the building. It's C2, which is general commercial, and we have it split out for dual purpose residential commercial. So it's not that. It is. They keep dumping it back on zoning, saying that it's a zoning issue, but city council doesn't really vote a whole lot on zoning issues.
Right. Now, your business, and in talking with you, you sound like one of the great tattoo artists out there. There's some shops out there that'll throw anything on, and they operate not necessarily the most clean environment. But you have a lot of preconditions. You only do specifically custom work. You don't tattoo minors. You don't do face or hand tattoos, things like that. So you're very selective about how you practice your craft, how you practice your art. And also I understand that you have a huge waiting list. You could probably employ more tattoo artists and actually add jobs to Plant City. Is that right?
If we were in the 5,000 square foot building, we have room for 5 tattoo artists, 2 piercers, and 2 counter people. So, I mean, you do the math.
Right. Right. And you would
out of a
yeah, exactly, and has been vacant for 56 years. I can't emphasize that enough. I just can't put myself in the mindset of the city planners here. They have a building that's been sitting vacant for over 50 years, falling apart, essentially an eyesore and a blight. And they don't. Here's a guy who wants to start a business there, and they're stopping him. It makes no sense.
Did I mention it's in the middle of 4 bars?
Now, you had mentioned to me that you believe there was a driving force behind this. Do you want to go into who I don't know if you want to discuss that, but I'll leave that to you.
You know, in any small town, you're going to have some level of, I don't want to say corruption, that's a really harsh word, but, you know, the good old boy network, you know, you rub my back, I'll rub yours. There is a heavy religious influence here, and a lot of those bigger churches and bigger congregations have a lot of money packed behind them. Plant City's a little town, but it's a rich little town.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking as someone who is both a born-again Christian and someone who has ink, you know, I just don't understand where that disconnect is. Why some people would see, you know, that as a potential as a potential problem for the community. What are your thoughts on that?
In the book of Leviticus, it says that you shall not mark the body.
Well, and also in the book of Leviticus, it says you shall not wear clothing of mixed linen. So this cotton blend shirt that I'm wearing is apparently an affront to God. I don't personally believe that. I'm a New Testament kind of guy, and I choose to follow the teachings of Christ. So if anyone is going to cite anything in Leviticus,
they are too. If not, we'd have a stoning center in the center in town hall,
Right.
and every time somebody got a divorce, we'd go and stone the woman to death.
Exactly, and I can pretty much guarantee that none of the people objecting to that particular passage in Leviticus are following 1/4 of the laws in Leviticus.
Well, let's just take this all the way and let's start putting red A's on people. And how far do we want to take this?
Yeah, exactly. So, Casper.
Well, I mean, and you can't make laws 2,000 years ago and expect 2,000 years later to have the exact same laws. And that's, you know, people pick and choose what they want out of the Bible, and they want to push their own beliefs, what they feel like they should follow and what they feel like they shouldn't follow on other people.
Right. And
by a free market supply and demand. If I were to open and the city really doesn't want me, I wouldn't be able to survive.
Exactly. And that's a perfect argument for whether the people of the town want it or not. If you're successful in your business, then the answer is yes. The people of the town, the people of the community want it. Hey, Casper, as we wrap up here, tell us where it's going now, what your expectations are, and when you think you'll have a final outcome on this.
I'm keeping my head down. I'm doing my tattoos at my temporary location. I'm still restoring the building. We're going to keep working on the building, and I'm going to let Jeff do his job.
Sounds good.
You know,
sounds like a plan. Just keep doing what you're doing. And Casper, go ahead and plug your business. Tell me the name of the business, where you're located, phone number, how people can get in touch with you.
Absolutely, thank you. It's Dixie Station Tattoo. We're at 606 East Baker Street in lovely Plant City. The phone number is 813-737-0111. Call for an appointment.
Okay, I would like to do that now.
How
long is your waiting list?
Because won't nobody be there.
How long is your waiting list?
It's usually about a month and a half. I have cancellations all the time. I have a couple little spots open next week, so call me.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to come get some ink from you.
Guess who's getting new ink?
Sounds great.
Look at that. See, you got a couple of customers out of the deal. Well, Casper.
See how this works?
Exactly. Free market. You got to love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. A real pleasure. And get back in touch with me because I think we had one other thing to talk about as well. So we'll find out more about that other thing. I don't want to give that away on the air, but it has to do with possibly another radio station as well. So. All right, Casper. Thanks again, my friend.
I'll give you a call later.
Sounds
all
good.
Right, guys. Thanks.
See ya.
I can't believe that it's in the middle of 4 bars.
You know, it's it's funny, but you see this sort of thing all the time, and it happens in every small town. Now, as
We're
governor,
going to cherry pick morality and.
Wait, and it's not just the moral aspect, though. That it is the case in there, and I do find it, like I said, as a Christian and someone who does everything he can to follow the teachings of Christ. I am a very religious man, a man of deep faith, but I separate my belief in government in that way. I don't think that government has any of the authority to tell you how to live your life or tell anyone how to live your life. Government's role is to protect the life, liberty, and property of the people that it serves. And that's it. And we've strayed so far from that that, really we just need to get back to the idea of you're not going to like everything in the world. There are things that are going to offend you. There are things that offend me every single day. But guess what? You don't have the authority to, infringe upon the rights of another, and government doesn't have the authority to do that either. And that's the mindset that we need our elected officials to be in. So I hear the phones ringing again. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 800-525-4032. In the next hour of the program, we're going to be on the air in the stations of the Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, and AM 1400 across West Central Florida. And I'll try to get to the end of the whole Real ID arrest story. It's been a rather segmented story here. You've had to listen through the whole show. I guess that's probably not the best thing to do in radio land, but hopefully we're keeping some people hanging on, waiting for the end of the story.
Yeah,
so,
you got to keep them hooked, man.
It's a bit of a tease. It wasn't intentional, but it's working out well. Do we have someone else want to call in?
We're about to go to break. I told him we're about to go to break. He's going to call back when we come back from break.
Okay, great. Call back in the third hour here. But yeah, it's going back to Casper's story. There are so many stories like this that I hear, and not just on the religious grounds or moral grounds, just in general, government interfering with business. And that's why, now again, as governor of the state of Florida, I would have no direct influence on this fight. This is a fight between him and the city, and it should be handled. And this is not the proper role for the governor to step in this particular instance. But I think we can set state laws, state regulations in such a way that we are not prohibiting businesses from being created, from expanding, from growing, from hiring new workers. By the same token, we've got to end the corporate welfare for all the businesses that are currently getting the special favors, the subsidies. It's like my competitor Rick Scott has been touting all the new jobs they created from the companies that they essentially used your tax dollars to pay off or gave some type of preferential tax break. Only 9% of those jobs have actually materialized. And that's what we do over and over and over again. And we have to realize that the much better way to solve the problem of creating new jobs and expanding the economy and creating an economic engine here in Florida is to level the playing field and get government the hell out of business's way. As I travel the state and I talk to small business owners, and I am a small business owner, and actually it's like 3 levels because I'm a small business owner that provides services to small and medium-sized businesses. So I'm constantly experiencing what that's like, and talking to small business owners. And when I ask them, what can government do to help you expand the economy, to grow jobs, to thrive, the answer is almost universally, with very, very few exceptions, get out of our way. Remove the barriers to entry. Remove the barriers to growth. I tell this story a lot. I've come across so many companies in the state of Florida, 49 employees. And there's a very good reason for it, because when you reach 50 employees, you go into a completely different regulatory bracket. And now all of a sudden you have to comply with a whole litany of regulation. And now all of a sudden you have to have an HR department because you have to have a regulatory compliance officer to deal with all these things. So what you have is an unbelievable contingent of businesses here in Florida that are stagnated at 49 employees. They would love to hire another 10, 15 people. They would love to grow their business, second location, what have you. But they can't because the cost-benefit analysis of crossing that regulatory threshold It doesn't make sense to them. The return on the investment is not there. That's why we need to get government out of the way and watch those businesses thrive. All right, you're listening to Liberty Underground. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Brandon from the Global Dispatch. Oh, no, we're not?
No.
Oh, well, then never mind. We're just going to be talking to me and Greg and Veronica. That's all we're
and
gonna be
callers.
doing. Yeah,
Call in.
callers. So keep calling in. 800-525-4032. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know, Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker.
Kill it, kill it, kill the music, kill the music, kill the intro, kill the intro. This is Adrian Wiley. I have liberated the Liberty Underground show. The tyrant known as Alex Snicker has been deposed. And I have regained my rightful seat at the throne of the 1787 radio network. It's good to be back. I'm joined by the Prime Minister of the Sinister, Greg Bowen.
Good morning.
On the buttons and knobs, and to my right, the lovely Veronica is with us as well. And it is great that the revolution has begun here in the 1787 radio network.
We already got callers calling in, too.
I know.
Let me bring them on.
See what happens? We're turning into a real radio show here, and just right off the bat.
I don't know what to do with a real show.
I know, but we're actually doing pretty well. Even though I'm a bit rusty, I have to admit, it's been a while since I'm doing a lot of radio these days.
I think you're doing a really great job.
Well, thank you very much. But I got to tell you, it was a little tough taking off the water wings and the training wheels and getting back into the game full time as a host here. But we have someone on the line.
Yes.
Yeah, we have Jared on the line.
Jared, welcome to the program.
Adrian, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great, my friend. Good to hear from you. And for
Are
those
you
of
the
you,
Subway, Jared?
No.
You know what? I got to say, I really like your hold music. So I might just call back and just hang out and listen for a little while.
That's our good friend Jordan Page, who I am proud to announce has endorsed me as Libertarian candidate for governor of Florida. So I'm happy to have that. And you might have recognized Jared's voice. This is the world-renowned Jared Grafoni of Resistance Radio fame down in the Naples area on 98.9 WGUF. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Outstanding. So, Jared, thanks for calling in. What can we do for you, my friend?
Oh, no problem. I just wanted to touch base with you, Adrian. We had a great event last night. I wanted to thank you for coming down. You were down here in the Naples area, as well as Bill Walsfer, the Attorney General candidate for the Libertarian Party of Florida. You performed admirably in the straw poll here in the belly of the beast, Rick Scott's hometown. I thought it was great, and everyone really enjoyed meeting you. I've got nothing but compliments and text messages, emails from people saying that they really loved the event. They loved meeting you and Bill. They're excited about your campaigns, and they want to get involved. So all in all, an overall success.
Well, I thank you so much for having me. That was an absolute blast yesterday, and boy, you weren't kidding when you said that is a Rick Scott stronghold, because I managed to pull off 10% in the straw poll, but Rick Scott won overwhelmingly in that straw poll. It is a very Rick Scott-centric area, but we're going to keep fighting to change that a little bit. I think once some of the constituents down there realize some of Mr. Scott's misdeeds, they might have a different tune. But we're actually we need to call Rick Scott again for equal time, Jared. Since, as you well know, as a radio talk show host yourself, when you have a candidate on, the general rule is you have to offer equal time. So we've been trying to get a hold of the Governor All Show, as well as Charlie Crist, and invite them to join us on the air. But so, Jared, what's going on? What else is going on down in Naples? I know you're, and I appreciate sincerely all the work that you're doing down there for the campaign. You guys have been phenomenal. You, Elsa, and everybody in the Libertarian Party at Collier County has just been phenomenal down there. So thank you.
Well, you know what? We've got a great group overall. Our executive committee is just second to none. All of our supporting members and our dedicated libertarians down here, they're the best. I mean, you can pretty much count on them for anything. They're willing to get out there on the issues and talk to people. They're willing to stand up for if we do a rally or a march, or to get a letter to the editor out there. Or they're great. And what we've been able to kind of foster down here is a working relationship with a variety of different groups. Depending on the issue, if we can advance libertarian principles, if we can make this county a little bit more free, we're willing to stand next to anyone if they're willing to stand next to us. And I think that's really what's unique about the Collier affiliate, is that we've been able to create and foster those relationships. Those relationships have grown, and as people have seen that, well, hey, not only are these libertarians working to advance liberty. They're working with a variety of groups based on these issues to advance what they believe in, the principles that they hold dear to their hearts. That is something that inevitably results in people from other groups wanting to just cut the cord with whatever group they're with and join the Libertarian Party of Florida, and join the Libertarian Party of Collier County. Because, people are frustrated. People are frustrated with the Republican Party, they're frustrated with the Democratic Party, but they're not going to leave those two entities unless they see something better. So what we've been able to offer, and I hope we continue to offer and continue to get better at it, is that alternative option and a viable option that says, well, hey, not only is the GOP terrible, or not only is the Democratic Party failing me on civil liberties, but the Libertarian Party is actually advancing those principles and pushing those causes. So I want to be with them now. They're the ones who are active. They're the ones who are doing the work, and they're great at it. And I trust them. And I trust them because they stand for their principles all the time. They don't sacrifice our goals or sacrifice our principles in order for some material gain or for some short-term alliance or something like that. I mean, it's always moving towards liberty.
Exactly. Now, you guys recently, you guys have been doing a lot of phenomenal work, but one thing that sticks out in my mind is your recent encounter with Rick Scott on the issue of Common Core. And that turned into a rather impromptu conversation with the governor, and which was on video and went pretty viral on YouTube and a lot of the social media circles there. Can you tell us a little bit about that encounter and what your discussion with the governor was?
Yeah, not only did it go viral on social media, it was picked up by a variety of traditional media outlets, the dinosaur media, all over the state. But basically what happened was there was a Rick Scott fundraiser in Fort Myers. If Governor Scott wants his extra time, we just play that video, because, I mean, he's going to let him speak for himself. But, there was a Rick Scott fundraiser up in Fort Myers, and Governor Scott was going to attend, and we got involved and got in touch with some anti-Common Core groups, some of the leading groups in the state of Florida. And one of those individuals, Chris Quackenbush, she's located in Southwest Florida. So we got this rally going, and we all went up there. We got a bunch of, it was 95% libertarians there, registered libertarians of either Lee County or Collier County. So a strong libertarian presence. We all had our signs, our anti-Common Core signs, and we were standing outside for a while. And a couple hours or an hour and a half after we first got there, Governor Scott shows up. It's time for the fundraiser, and he's pulling up in his truck and or his SUV. And he actually stops and gets out of the SUV and walks over to this group of 25, 35 protesters who were there I think by that point, and starts talking to us. Starts telling and clearly there was some talking points that he was coached with on the way over, because he had about 5 things that he just kind of repeated over and over again over the course of the conversation. But we had a few people there who got different videos. They were taking the videos on their phones or on their iPads or whatever. And Scott's telling this entire group of anti-Common Core activists, some of the most intelligent anti-Common Core activists and groups probably in the state, that we don't have Common Core in Florida. And that he's done things to prevent Common Core. He got rid of Park, and that we now have local control, and that the issue isn't with him or with the Florida legislature over Common Core. The issue now is with local school boards and local entities, because he allegedly passed the buck down to the local groups and said, well, hey, if you guys have Common Core in your communities, it's because of your local leaders, not because of me and not because of the Florida legislature. Now, I know the bills, I know the statutes, so I was actually standing right in front of Governor Scott. I was probably about 2 feet in front of or away from him, and I had my big sign that said, "There's no left and right, there's just freedom and tyranny," and I was holding that up the whole time. So that got on the video too, which is great. But anyway, I said basically that, well, hey, no, that's simply not true, and a bunch of other people were piping in as well, because they knew it was all complete lies. That, well, hey, we still have Common Core in Florida. You signed the bill, Governor Scott, that changed Common Core. That implemented Common Core in the Next Generation Sunshine State Standards, which was, I think, SB 8 or
1172, I think it was. Yeah.
Off the top of my head. But anyway, SB 864 was the bill where we supposedly got local control, but that's not really the case either. All that bill did when it was passed was allow the local school boards and districts to choose their material. But if you follow the statute and you follow all the different citations in the statute, what ends up happening is that, okay, you can choose what you want so long as it agrees with the Sunshine State Standards, which are now Common Core thanks to Governor Scott. So I mentioned that to him, and he denied it straight up, and that's where we got the video, and that's why it went viral. I mean, thousands and thousands of views through I mean, I think at one point, and this was probably about a month ago now, the last time I actually looked, I mean, there was well over 10,000 shares or views on Facebook, and then we had it up on YouTube as well. There was another 1,000 or 2,000 on there, and then it got shared through traditional media, Miami Herald, Tampa Bay Times, Tampa Bay Online. We got a few other radio interviews out of it. I think one other gentleman who's actually on Pantalk as well out of Tampa, and up in Bay County as well, Bay County, Florida, and the Panhandle. So, I mean, it went everywhere.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is something I struggle with, quite frankly. I've watched, for example, I watched Rick Scott in his depositions over HCA. I watched him, plead ignorance over and over and over again in cases where he was charged with corruption and antitrust violations and, all kinds of things by the federal government. And I watch him, and I'm still trying to make the decision for myself. Is he truly ignorant, or is he just a really good liar? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? Either way, either of those two options are extremely scary.
Yeah, neither's good.
Who's in Tallahassee? Yeah, neither of those are good at all. I really don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, there's really no way to prove that he either doesn't know what he's signing or doesn't care and is just doing it for political gain. But all I know is that what I saw right in front of my face, and those are the words that came out of his mouth that I heard right with my ears, 2 feet in front of the governor, was that we don't have Common Core in Florida. And that is an outright lie. Yeah. Regardless of the reasoning behind it, it's either a lie or just a complete misunderstanding, lack of understanding of the bill that he actually signed. I mean, I said, Governor Scott, you signed the bill at SB 1076, I believe.
Yes,
you signed the bill last session, 2013. And no. I mean, that's simply not true. All we have to do is go pull up the bill, and there it is. It says Next Generation Sunshine, or Common Core is now Next Generation Sunshine State Standards. I mean, that's the way it is. It's in the law. It's in the statute. You look at what's happened in other states. I believe it was Indiana was the first, one of the first states to actually say no to the federal government over Common Core. Well, guess what happened? Within, I think, 10 days, they received a letter from, I think, the Department of Education stating that, well, you better prove to us that what you have is basically the same as Common Core, and if not, then we're going to pull your funding. Well, guess what? We still have all of our funding, and Florida never received one of those letters. So what does that tell you? It tells you that we have Common Core in Florida, that Governor Scott either doesn't know or doesn't care, and is just trying to have these bills put up that are really just designed to fool people, the voters into thinking that he's responsive to our concerns about Common Core, and we can see that blatantly is not the case.
And I was up in Tallahassee when all this was actually happening, and I can tell you that it was a complete bait and switch. They actually created a bill called Common Core, and everybody in the state legislature knew that they were going to kill this bill, and they were doing it as a dog and pony show so they could go back to their constituents and say, oh yeah, you know that bill that we named Common Core? Oh, we killed that one. But at the same time, SB 1076 was going through, which actually redefined Next Generation State Standards as Common Core, and that passed almost unanimously. I want to say there was only 3 people out of the entire legislature, both houses, that voted against it. Maybe there was 6 total, but the number was exceedingly low. And that was signed by the governor, and if you don't believe us, you can go to 2013 SB 1076, pull it up. You can actually see the bill. You can see the governor's signature. You can read for yourself that it redefines Next Generation Sunshine State Standards as Common Core, and that we are very far down the path of full implementation of Common Core. And the next phase will be the biometric cataloging of our kids. It will be the psychological evaluations of kids and parents. It will be, asking the kids whether your parents have guns at home or anything like that. And it will be, I'm sure, the next logical step will be DCF involvement.
Well, Adrian, and I'm sure you're aware, of course, of the special election that happened down here for U.S. Congress, and your listeners may be aware as well. There was a Republican primary prior to the special general, which was just this last Tuesday. The Republican primary was back in April, and this was right during the legislative session. So that some of the candidates who were actually in the legislature at that time, Elizabeth Benaquisto, they were trying to put some bills up or rearrange some stuff to make it look nice to the voters that they're responsive on Common Core. And she was one of the co-sponsors of SB 864, which was the bill that supposedly gave local control in the state of Florida. So I actually contacted her legislative aide at the time, and he told me directly that it does not repeal the standards. And that was the line at the time, was that, well, hey, this is repealing the standards. Well, no, I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. This does not repeal the standards. And I'm also an attorney, so I've got multiple hats on. So I actually read the bill and read the statutes as well. And if you just follow the chain, you follow SB 864, what it says in there is that, and I've got it right in front of me now, that the district school board shall ensure that instructional materials used in the district are consistent with the district goals and objectives, and the course descriptions established in the rule of the State Board of Education, as well as with the state and district performance standards provided for in Statute 1001-03. So what does 1001-03 say? Well, it says the State Board of Education shall adopt and periodically review and revise the Sunshine State Standards in accordance with 103.41. So now you've got to go to 103.41. Now 103.41 is Next Generation Sunshine State Standards. That the Next Generation Sunshine State Standards are establish the core content of the curricula to be taught in the state, and specify the core content, knowledge, and skills that K through 12 public school students are expected to acquire. Well, then you go to that SB 1076, and what are Next Generation Sunshine State Standards? Well, those are Common Core standards in English language arts and mathematics, adopted under 1003.41.
Yep.
So you just follow the chain there, you follow the law, you follow the bills, and you can see that. And now your average person who is either doesn't have the time to look up all of these bills, or doesn't have the time to look up the Florida statutes and read through it, and I'll readily admit that they can be onerous, especially when you have to reference multiple statutes.
Yeah.
You would never be able to find that out. You would never be able to, draw the line, or fill in the dots or whatever, and get this full picture. And when you actually do take the time and see it, it's right there in black and white.
Yeah. Well, Jared, I am not an attorney. I do, however, sometimes play one in court. But I can tell you, you're absolutely on the money. They bury this thing, and they do it through the multiple references to multiple statutes, and this references these statutes, would say these things that reference these statutes, and that's the shell game that they play. And I got to tell you, it was about 3 months ago. I was up in one of my many trips to the state capitol. And I was sitting in the office of a state senator having a frank one-on-one discussion with him. I won't out the person that this was, but I will tell you this is generally a good guy, and generally votes pretty well on liberty issues. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing? Why'd you vote for Common Core? Why are you supporting this? And his answer to me was, hey, look, this is Jeb Bush's baby, and nobody can go against Jeb Bush. And one of the reasons, and he said that directly to me, one of the reasons that is, at least part of that, is that, Jeb Bush's brother Neil owns one of the curriculum providers that is approved under Common Core. And when you see this type of corruption, it happens, and we were talking earlier in the show about the corruption when you see it firsthand. It's like Rick Scott, for example. Rick Scott we know that he signed the executive order to drug test all state employees. Well, we also know that up until that time, he owned the second largest drug testing company in the state of Florida. And the attorneys came to him and said, Governor Scott, that's what you call a conflict of interest. You need to sell that company. So he goes and sells the company to his wife. And now that company is in a blind trust under his wife's name. So this type of corruption happens all the time. And Jared, I want to thank you so much for calling in the program and carry this rusty old talk show host that had absolutely no show prep today. You filled in some time for us, and you did it exceedingly well, like the radio professional that you are. Hey, tell the listeners how they can tune into your show.
Sure. Well, you can go to resistanceradio.com. You can stream us live on there. We're on Saturday from noon to 1. If you're in the Southwest Florida area, you can tune in at 98.9 WGUF FM. But go to the website, go to resistanceradio.com, connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. All the links are on there. And if anyone's interested in hearing that Rick Scott video for themselves, just go to callyourlp.com. And you can go to our YouTube page right from there, or just do a Google search for Common Core Rick Scott, Call Your Libertarian Party, and it'll show up, and you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
And folks, watch that video. It's worth your time.
It's awesome.
Jared, thanks so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks.
All right, take care,
bye-bye.
my friend. All right, like we said, as the Libertarian governor or candidate for governor of Florida, we respect the concept of a free and equal press. We respect all opinions in the media, and we respect the equal time rules that the FCC has that no radio station in the state of Florida actually adheres to, but we're going to. So
we're coming up on a break. Do you want to make these calls coming back?
You know
break?
what? Let's do that. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we will give Governor Rick Scott and gubernatorial hopeful Charlie Crist a call on, at least Charlie Crist will call his cell phone since I happen to have that number. But you're listening to Liberty Underground on the 1787 radio network, and we'll be right back.
As soon as the music cues up.
There you go.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground on the 1787 Radio Network. This is Adrian Wiley, the new returning ruler of the 1787 Radio Network after dethroning the usurper, Alex Snicker. It's good to be here. Actually, I'm just guest filling in this week, but you know we're having a little
Actually,
fun
you
with it.
threw everyone out except for the guy that does the knobs and buttons.
He didn't want to do it. I'm not coming back to do that.
You know, I actually set up that system, so I could run it if I have to, but I kind of forgot how to do most of it, to be quite honest with you. So it's better that you're here.
Good thing I didn't go to convention.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to try Governor Scott's office? Or
Yeah,
campaign?
yeah. We want to. Let's go ahead and start with his office there, and see if we can get the governor on the phone in the interest of equal time. Since I am getting all this free radio time for my gubernatorial campaign to comply, we want to make sure that we give Rick Scott and Charlie Crist equal opportunity to
Thank you for contacting
voice
Governor
their
Rick
opinions
Scott's
on the
office.
show.
Your call is important to us. Please press 1 to speak with an available representative. Please press 2 to leave a voicemail for the governor's staff or to share your opinion about legislation and the governor's initiative. Please
Like to
press
share
3
our
to
opinion.
obtain contact information for the
Good,
governor's
first one.
office. All of our representatives are currently busy.
They're always
Please
busy.
Continue to hold for the next available staff member.
You know, oh, we got ringing this time.
Ooh. Exciting.
Live radio, folks. Never know what's going to happen.
The suspense is killing me.
I thought y'all were going to join
You know, we
in.
tried this earlier.
We did.
And we were on hold for a long time. We finally gave up.
Yeah.
And let it ring a couple more times. We'll see if we can get anyone. I don't think we're going to get an answer.
Thank you for contacting Governor Rick Scott's office. Your call is important.
We're back in the loop. All right.
So we're that important that we get
they're
the
so
loop
important.
around.
I'm just going to go ahead and publicly shout this out to Rick Scott. Hey, Ricky, you're more than welcome to come on the show. Give us a call. The number is 800-525-4032. We'll put you right through. Love to hear your thoughts. I know that you're not real fond of being in the same room with me, but maybe since we're separated via microphone and a phone line, you might have a little more testicular fortitude to maybe talk to me. But if not, I'll see you in the debates starting on September 29th at University of Florida and again on October 15th at Broward College. Looking forward to being on the same stage with you, sir, to point out how we can better handle the affairs of the people of Florida. All right, let's give Charlie Crist a call. Give him the opportunity. Let's go straight to his cell phone number. Let's see if we can get him on that.
Awesome. Already had that one ready.
I knew you had it queued up.
Hi, this is Charlie Crist. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now.
Leave him a voicemail.
Yeah.
Leave your name and number. I'll return your call as soon as I can. Thanks so much
Went
for your
straight to
support.
voicemail this time.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Charlie, it's Adrian again. Just giving you one more shout out before the show's over. If you'd like to give us a call, come on the air with us. The number is 800-525-4032. 800-525-4032. Giving you the opportunity. Looking forward to debating you on September 29th at UF and October 15th at Broward College. But in the meantime, come on the air with us and let our callers hear what you have to say and why you're the better choice for governor. Talk to you soon, Charlie. See ya.
All right.
Well, we tried to get through to the governor.
We gave him a chance.
Got no answer there. Our call was apparently not that important to him. That's the second voicemail we've left for Charlie, and it seems these guys never want to talk to me. I can't imagine why that is. Any thoughts on that, guys? I mean, is it body odor? Do I spit when I talk? Bad breath? I mean, what's the problem here?
You did say a-hole.
not to Rick or Charlie. That was
that was Jack.
Yeah, that was Jack.
And I think part of the problem is we are not approved journalists on their list of journalists who are allowed to ask them questions, and we are not presenting them with the list of questions that we are asking them, so they're not able to prepare their talking points because, unlike you, they don't answer questions from the heart. They answer questions from the list.
You're setting me up for a segue, aren't you?
I was trying.
That's very good. I mean, that's very sly.
Nice.
And had I not pointed it out to our listeners,
it would have been
seamless. But being that I am rather rusty in my radio professionalism here, I will just.
Your voice is still very nice.
Well, thank you very much. That's my real radio voice I've got going on here. Yeah. Every once in a while, I like to go with my NPR voice. You're listening to NPR.
Wow, you do that really well.
You do.
But actually, you're not listening to NPR. You're listening to the Liberty Underground Show on the 1787 network, and right now on the stations of the Tan Talk network in West Central Florida. I recently had the opportunity to go on Political Connections on Central Florida 13, which is the Orlando version of Bay News 9 that we have here in the Tampa Bay market. And I was on with Ebeth, and I can never pronounce her last name properly, so I'm not going to even try, but she's one of the anchors there. And as I'm in the green room talking to the producer, she comes up and sits down and says, I just wanted to find out what kind of questions you wanted me to cover in our interview. I said, well, that's totally up to you. You're asking the questions. You ask me whatever you like. And she's like, oh, really? I don't get that too often. And she actually told me the story that, they were reaching out to all the gubernatorial candidates. Charlie Crist, Nan Rich, myself had all appeared on the show. I was appearing on the show that day. And she said they actually turned Rick Scott down. They made the decision not to interview Rick Scott. And the reason that is because all of the preconditions that he had. He said the only way he would go on the show is if, A, he got to pick the interviewer, and he didn't want Ebeth interviewing him. And also, if they only talked about, the only topic that they could talk about was Hispanic outreach. They could not ask him any other question whatsoever. And I got to say, to CF13, Central Florida 13's credit, they refused. And after the segment of Political Connections where I was on, immediately thereafter, Ebeth comes on the air, and she actually told this story, which is even better.
Yeah.
She told the whole world the reason that they would not be having Rick Scott on the show is because they refused to agree on the basis of journalistic integrity to his demands. And I thought that was phenomenal. And I give them so much credit. It was really wonderful. And just as a little plug for the campaign, I did a taping for Bay News 9's Political Connections this past week. It was on Monday, I believe it was. Boy, I tell you, the campaign trail, the days really blend together. It's getting to the point. I rolled in this morning from Naples at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was on the radio at 7 o'clock the next morning. It's just getting to be. This is my actual second radio appearance of the day. It's getting to be where just everything blends together, but it's phenomenal. But the point of the story is I did a taping on Bay News 9 on Monday, which is actually going to air on Political Connections Sunday, July 6th. And it'll be on at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. And also it'll be available on demand for the Bay News 9 on demand channel. I forget what number that is. I think it might be 999. But it was really interesting. I was on with Al Rochelle, who is the anchor for Bay News 9. He's a really good guy. And with Adam Smith, and he's the political editor of the Tampa Bay Times. And he and I have had an up and down relationship, so to speak.
That's one way of putting it.
I have called him out for bias on a few occasions. And he has responded by refusing to mention my name ever. I have not, ever since probably the last time he put my name in an article regarding anything was about 2012. And since my run for governor, he has not included my name in any of the coverage he's done. Fortunately, he doesn't get to choose who appears on Political Connections. The Bay News 9 staff determines that. So I have to say, it was the back and forth between Adam and I in this interview was a little contentious. But I think he thought he was going to make me look bad with some hardball questions, and little did he know those are my favorite type. So it went pretty well. So tune into that next Sunday if you get the opportunity. But it's really funny that we're getting to the point in the movement, in the campaign, in the Libertarian Party, where these people have to start taking us seriously. For a long time, they could ignore us. They can't anymore. And the reason that is because it's our message. Our message resonates with the people. And the only limitation that we have is our ability to get that message to the people. Because when we explain the message of individual freedom, economic freedom, individual liberty, when we talk about getting government out of people's wallets, out of their bedrooms, out of their business, out of their bodies, people respond, and they like it, because that's really what people want from government. They just want to be left alone.
It's the party of leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone once said that libertarians want to take over the world and leave you alone. And that's pretty much what it is. Libertarians believe that you should be free to live your life as you see fit, so long as you don't harm or infringe upon the rights of another. It's simple, folks. It's the kind of thing we learned in kindergarten. So when you go out there, and for me it's on the campaign trail, when you go out there and talk to these people, you realize that the vast majority of people also support that concept, and they're so thrilled to hear there's a party. But like I said, our limitation is the ability to reach the people. And we're starting to overcome that. And because of the, and I got to thank so many people listening. It's because of you. It's because of you people listening who support the movement and who have commented on articles and who have called the media and said, you have to cover libertarians, you have to present all sides of the issues, you have to start playing fairly. That you've made the difference. You made this happen, and that's why we're starting to break through in the media. And as we break through in the media and more people hear our message, we're winning not only the battle, we're winning the war. So it's just an amazing time to see both the rapid increase in tyranny, for lack of a better term, and to also see the resurgence of people standing up and saying no more, standing up and saying it's time to take our liberty back.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah. We're very Newtonian about the whole thing.
Well, it's definitely resonating. We've got two callers on the line. We've got one on hold and one on the line now.
Okay.
This is Charco the Chicken.
Charco, welcome to the program, my friend.
Good morning, or I don't know if it's afternoon yet, but I was up until 2-something a.m. yesterday playing poker at Porkfest, and I can say that the state of New Hampshire got no cuts at all, but that's why I've been lame. I mean, we were going to play the show. Look, I've been barely able to be living, but it's the most beautiful poker table I've ever seen. It's the most beautiful time I've ever seen. I'm very sorry for Adrian having to do radio shows and campaign and all that when we are down here having so much fun at Porkfest, but that's the way it goes.
I'll live. So tell me, how's the? I'm sure there's a lot of good friends of ours up there at Porkfest with you. How's it going so far?
We have Zach Silva has the Libertarian Party of Florida tent up, and it's going great. It's a beautiful volunteer. You wouldn't believe it. I mean, I'm raving about the poker, but there's all sorts of other fun things, and it's just a party not to be missed, and it's getting better every day. And the only problem with it is that it's going to end on Sunday morning, and the other 51 weeks of the year kind of suck.
Well, Charco, hey, thanks for the call, my friend, and thanks for the update from PorkFest, and tell everyone up there I send my best to them.
Win the election, damn it! Florida needs you.
I'm working on it, my friend. I'm working on it, and hopefully you won't have to break out the chicken suit anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're going to deserve it. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, man. Take it easy. And a little earlier in the show, we were talking about my buddy, Jack Latvala, who apparently had at least a role in my being arrested, happily being arrested.
You called him an a-hole.
Yeah, I did call him a name in the state
First
capitol.
you challenged
in the
someone's
Senate.
manhood, then you called him an a-hole. Both times, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
That is true, but in both cases, it's funny. In both cases, it was the exact equal and opposite reaction that I was hoping for.
I know.
So it's funny that these guys think they're doing me a disservice, and they're actually doing me a favor. But on the phone with us is the Libertarian challenger to boss daddy of Pinellas County, Jack Latvala. I have a hard time even saying his name. It just it doesn't want to come out of my mouth. It's just like you kind of name you want to just.
That's because
spit
it
out.
leaves a bad taste in your
It
mouth.
actually does. But someone who doesn't leave a bad taste, and someone who I fully support, is Tony Queso. Tony, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great, Adrian. How are you doing?
I am doing phenomenal, despite the fact that I have very little sleep and I'm doing a 3-hour radio show for the first time in about a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm managing to keep it all together, but no, I kicked my leg. I can't.
Actually, you did a great job reclaiming your throne on the show.
That's right. Viva la revolution. So Tony is running for state senate, District 20, which is most of North Pinellas. Tony, tell us about the campaign so far. How's it going out there? What kind of response you getting from the people?
I'm getting an unbelievable response. Right? It's when you're actually talking to the people out there, right? They're actually understanding the difference between the R's and the D's, which are both the same, and the libertarian concept.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that a lot myself. It's funny. I often tell the story on the campaign trail that I've been a libertarian for over 20 years, and I used to tell people I was a libertarian, and they had no idea what it was. In fact, the most common response was they thought I was a librarian. Yeah, I used to actually get that a lot. Today, it's amazing. The people understand what libertarians stand for, and that basically we're the guys that stand up for limited government, smaller government, and freedom, essentially. And people get that now, so it makes conveying the message so much easier. Is that what you're finding, Tony?
Pretty much so, right? But also they're understanding that we have a one-party system right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're the second party option.
Yeah, and that's. I think that both the Bush administration and the Obama administration have done wonders in showing people that there is really no difference. Because if you were to step back and you were to take the names and didn't say which president it was, and you listed the things that they do and the things that they've said and the actions that they've undertaken, I pretty much guarantee you that most people would not be able to place the action or the words with the right president because they are so similar.
That would be a fun game.
We played that game before.
That goes back even before Bush, right? I mean, you can list all the presidents in line, and you can see the similarities between all of them. Up to what we have sitting in the White House right now.
Right. Right. And that also plays out on the local level. I mean, seriously, when you talk about policy positions, when you look at Rick Scott and Charlie Crist, when you look at the people in the state house, the state senate, they have different rhetoric, but when it comes down to it, you see a whole lot of bipartisan support. And, I tell people that when you see a controversial issue getting bipartisan support, you run for the hills, because something is really wrong, and the people are either losing money, freedom, or both, and a whole lot of people in the state legislature are getting paid. And that's really what it boils down to. And Tony, and look, folks, I know Tony. He's been a friend of mine for a while. I can tell you, he's the real deal. He's a good guy. He's going up against Jack Latvala, who is a bad guy. And Jack, I know you're probably listening because, you sent me the friend request on Facebook. You got me arrested. You're following what I'm doing. You got me arrested at an event that you and I were both scheduled to attend.
Thank you.
I know that you're following me. So I hope you're listening and understand that you are the bad guy. And I don't know why
we all know Jack's game plan and exactly what he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And people out there are waking up to the fact that all he is a big bully.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he doesn't like it when he gets a taste of his own medicine.
Bullies
not only
usually
he
don't.
doesn't like the taste of his own medicine, he's not doing the job that the people need done.
Right.
We elect people to represent them, not to dictate to them.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I got to ask you, Tony.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you using Jack Latvala's printing company like every politician running for office is required to do?
Absolutely not.
I'm glad to hear that.
Because your signs will show up one-sided, and you'll only get half of them.
To tell you the truth,
so
my
sad.
signs came from a company in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
You get a good
My
deal on them?
Printed literature, right? I have to do it the old-fashioned way and print most of it myself.
Well, that's the thing. When you don't have the, and Jack Latvala has raised almost $1 million. He has almost $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Is he over $1 million now? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, $1.7 million.
There you go, folks. Here's a state senator who's raised $1.7 million for his election campaign. Now, where's that money coming from? Do you think that's coming from little old ladies writing $5 checks? Do you think that's coming from, the small business owner who is just interested in the political process? No. This is payola, folks, and it comes with a price tag, and the price tag is your tax dollars
soul.
and your liberty. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jack Latvala, he sold his soul a long time ago.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle, right? And doing the job that needs to be done.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, Tony, I wanna make sure that you have as much support as we can send your way. And so, folks, if you're listening, if you're anywhere in North Pinellas County, help Tony out. Send him some money. Get a check his way. He needs it, and he'll spend it wisely. And you know what? I got some bad news for you. You're not buying any political favors. You're not going to get any special treatment because of it. But what you will get is an opportunity to restore some freedom here in Florida. And what you will get is an honest, decent man representing you in Florida's state legislature. That's what we need to do. So, Tony, how can folks get in touch with you? Give us your website or how they can get get some money to you or volunteer for your campaign.
My website is very simple, right? www.http://votetonycasso.com.
Okay, so that's Vote Tony. Hey, hang on a second, Tony. That's VoteTonyCasso.com, right?
Yep.
Okay.
My email is tony@votetonycasso.com.
All right, sounds good. Hey, you got any plans upcoming? Any events? Any fundraisers? Anything going on in the near future here?
Well, there's a few events happening in Pinellas that I will be at campaigning. Right, I have 2 events that I'm going to hit tomorrow. One in Clearwater and one in the Dunedin Craft Festival.
Oh, great. Okay.
Right, and then comes July 4th. I'll be campaigning at 3 events. The Parade in Safety Harbor, Coachman Park, right, and Largo Central Park just before they do their fireworks show.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sounds like you got a
Right.
pretty
And
packed
I'm
campaign
going to try and
schedule.
come see you tomorrow at Flame. Give me the name of it. It's over in Oldsmar.
Oh,
Flame
yeah.
Grill.
I don't know. And folks, you'll have to forgive me. I kind of just, my schedule is so tight these days that I just go where I'm told. I know in the morning tomorrow, I'm speaking at the Citrus County Tea Party. And in the afternoon, I'm speaking at a Bitcoiners event. And I know that's in
Oldsmar.
You know what, Tony? Thanks for reminding me. I guess I should plug my schedule too. But I'll pull up my website and figure out where the hell I'm going to be for the next couple of days.
Right.
But
You know,
Tony,
people also have to know that all this is only really going to work if you're elected governor.
yeah, and you know what, Tony? It's looking so good right now. Now that we're hitting better numbers in the polls, we're as high as 16% in the polls. Now that I've been invited to the debates, I'm starting to get media attention from the mainstream media. Things are really rolling in our direction. And keep in mind, folks, this is a 3-way race. It only takes 34% to win. And with your help, helping out Tony, helping out me, Bill Walsifer, helping out Lucas Overby and South Pinellas for U.S. Congress, we need to cover all our bases, and we need to get people who have integrity and people who understand constitutionally limited government into all levels of office, local, state, federal, because that's the only way we're going to do it. We have to do it across the board. So I implore you, support me, support Tony, support Bill Walsifer for Attorney General, support Lucas Overby for Congressional District 13. Anything you can do to help makes a huge difference.
Well, they have to understand we can save our country one state at a time, and let's start with Florida.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tony, thank you so much for the call, and good luck, my friend, and I'm sure we'll be together again very soon on the campaign trail.
Thanks, Adrian, and remember, everybody out there, right, get on there and support the Libertarian candidates.
Absolutely.
We all need help out there.
Absolutely, my friend. You take care now.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, I guess that we've only got a couple more minutes, but I guess I probably should give folks an update on where I'm going to be.
I do want to make a quick note real quick.
Sure.
Give you a second to pull that up. So Latvala's pulled in over $1 million for his campaign. Just so you know, his salary, he over $1 million for a job that pays him $29,697 a year.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
We are so lucky. We have so many wonderful candidates between Adrian and Lucas and Bill and Tony. I like people that think for themselves. That's why you don't need talking points. That's why you don't need, a list of the questions so that you can figure it out, because you've already figured out what no one told you what to say.
And you don't have to fall in party line. You don't have to.
You're not beholden to anyone. It's not.
Yeah, it's true, and it is funny. I have never had a written speech, ever. I have no talking points. I have no prep crew that tells me what to say. I just speak my mind. It's easy when you believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
You have talking points in the sense that you have points that you revisit regularly.
Right.
But
there's just ideas that you want to make sure get out there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to someone asking you a question and either freezing like a deer in headlights,
or just repeating the same party line statement that you've been given.
The fallback statement. I wanted to real quick give my schedule. We invited Rick Scott and Charlie Crist. Apparently, they're both going to bail on us. But tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will be at 1 p.m. I'll be at the Citrus County Tea Party meeting at 1715 Forest Drive in Inverness. Tomorrow afternoon, or evening rather, I'll be at Tampa Bay Bitcoiners at Flamestone American Grill, 4009 Tampa Road. On Sunday, I'll be at the St. Pete Pride Festival at the Libertarian Party of Pinellas County booth. Now, what other candidate goes to a tea party one day and a Pride Fest the next day? I guarantee
Only
it's
a
not
libertarian. Only a
libertarian. On Sunday, I'll be writing my pretrial motions as last minute because I'm late with my
the
homework.
11th hour.
On Monday, I've got radio interviews with WWJB and Let's Talk Politics with Fred Wilson, and then it's on to court, I believe, at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, and then. Yeah, I think that's all I've got time to really go into. But busy weekend for me, and I hope it's a great weekend for everyone out there listening. Thank you for tuning in to the revolution here at Liberty Underground on the 1787 Radio Network. And Alex and Danielle will be back with Greg in studio next week. You guys have a good one. Take care.